Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Aquatic Addicts Anonymous show. Let's see, we have one person in the audience right now, I do believe. And well, they're not a problem. I'm just looking at a message I got here earlier. He's having some messaging issues on Glenn's live stream a little bit earlier. Hello, Paul. How are you, mate? Good to see you. We're gonna do a little bit of a brief recap of the auction yesterday, but I also have another topic coming up. I'm gonna go ahead and pop that up here right now. And this is something that I've been working on and trying to do, is to breeding for profit and also finding the balance and doing both. So in other words, you know, if I wanted to just breed for profit, I would have to choose fish that are really, you know, extra popular. So, but it might not necessarily be what I want. Hello, Glenn. Oh, a delayed flight. Okay. Yeah, I wasn't sure what happened earlier. I was typing to you in there, but it kept Xing my message out. It was really odd. I wasn't sure exactly what that was. But at any rate, here we are. This is our topic. The main topic today is breeding for profit and fun, and finding the balance doing both. And I was just telling Paul here that sometimes it's not easy to do both, really, to be honest, because some people have different types of. Oh, there's Greg. Hello, working and lurking. All right, sir. Thank you. Just talking about breeding for profit today and finding a nice balance in both. Having fish that you like and that are also popular with the mainstream, and isn't always an easy thing to do because everybody has different tastes. And so it's never going to be a perfect world when it comes to breeding for profit, I don't think. Let me turn this music down here as we're cleaning it because it's kind of annoying. Thought it'd be all right, but nope, that's not good either. Here we go. That's more like it. Hello, bubbling fans. Welcome in. You want to breed for profit or call connections first, breeding second. Yes, breeding for fun first. And we do have Charlotte coming to join us in a bit, I'm sure. But in the meantime, I'm going to drop the link in case anybody would like to join me in the conversation up here about it. Breeding for profit. Angels and bristlenose are moneymakers. Yes. In fact, during the auction yesterday, that's what I sold a pair. You know, I got lots of them. I pretty cheap. It's a nice size. It's going to be a nice. Actually, he has requested more males, so he's going to get three males, maybe one female. So he'll get mostly males out of that. But you know, for $25, that's real reasonable, because I've seen, you know, sex pairs going for like $40. But I want to make a little bit of profit for the fish room, but I don't want to rake people over the coals to get them, you know, because part of my mission is to share my fish with people and make it affordable, and you know, make a little bit of profit here and there, because these fish are bred for me, so everything I make off them is going to be, you know, even though I feed them, I feed the whole tank anyway, so it'll be a little bit of a profit margin, and you know, it keeps me in fish food and whatnot. And if I ever want to get some more species of fish, that helps with that too. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. But angelfish, that's after watching every time I watch your angelfish, I'm like, I cannot believe I've been keeping fish since 1974 on my 10th birthday, and I've not had one angelfish. And about 2 weeks ago, I got my very first Corridora too. So I've been in a very niche category most of my life. You know, Paul from Big Fish Lad, Fish Northwest. I was him back in the 70s, 80s, and into the 90s. And then I started started ebbing off that to the smaller type fish, and some other ones that are, a little easier to maintain in smaller tanks and whatnot. And I had a pretty massive tank when I had my Midas pair. I think that was like a 180 I had at that time, and I gave that to my niece when we moved house over here to our new house. Shame for shame. Yeah, I got to get some angels. I am going to be getting some angels, I tell you what. And it's not going to be too long either. I'll probably have them before Christmas. I'm going to be looking, and I'm going to get some. Those Midas were epic. I tell you what, that male was magnificent. He was about good 13 inches, maybe 14. He was a whopper. And when I would walk up to that tank, he would ram that so hard it would send the water over, splashing over the top on me if I had the lid open to feed him. And a good many times when I go to feed him, put my hand over the tank, he would jump up, try to get me. He got me one time really good right here. I'm not sure if you can see, there was a little bit of a, let's see if I can see this. There was a scar. Right. He nailed me right here. He bit a hold of this, and he just ripped it. It bled like a stuck hog. He was a monster. I mean, I didn't take it again. He's aggressive. He's aggressive. Midas are aggressive. Red devils are aggressive. So I didn't take anything against him. I didn't, take it personally, even though I was bleeding. So I know what he's about, and they are beautiful fish. And someday, you never know, I might actually go back to something like that for maybe one tank for myself. Adventures in Gardening. Hello, how are you? I, everyone, had some serious changes to both of my channels as of today. Oh, yeah, you're DJ, right? As I remember. So what were your serious changes to both of your channels, if you don't mind me asking? You can go ahead and share it with us. Maybe it's something that we could help you with. Those red devils were aggressive, and they bred for me, and I had tons and tons of fry. And it's like back then I could actually get rid of them for a little bit. What I would normally do is back then we had other LFSs in the area. Now we have just the one that doesn't like to play ball too much. But I would go out to about maybe 10 miles away from here. And I would take the babies, all the fry, and I'd trade them for a few fish that I wanted, like maybe some Jack Dempsey's or something. I mean, I had no need to have, 500 red devil fry. So it didn't really matter to me. I was just basically a kid back then, and I wanted something different. I was like, oh, I got all these. I can trade you. It doesn't cost any money out of my pocket. I take the fish home. So I don't mind doing that even. I mean, even with the fish I have now, if I had an LFS nearby, I'd be happy to trade a lot of these African cichlids for just a couple fish that I want, because I need the tank space, and it would be easier for me to do that and get myself some angelfish, like a group of 6 angelfish. I trade all these Africans, except for my wife needs a few of those red zebras there, but I'd save those for her. Snow white plecos make my most income in my fish. Oh, nice, Rob. Is that, you have a new logo too, don't you? I just noticed that you got some blue line ring around it. That's nice. Those snow white plecos are beautiful. Hello, Sunfish for Fish. How are you? You can have yourself an African fish fry. Yeah. Why don't you get bubbles on your live, Jeff? Well, that's fine. Hello, Chris. I'm going to drop the link, and if anybody would like to join me, even for just a few minutes, that would be nice. But we're talking about breeding for profit today, and if somebody would like to join me in the conversation, give me your input. Come on up. You can stay as long as you want to, or you can stay 5 minutes. Don't matter to me. You're more than welcome. Yep, Chris is my Canadian brother. Yes. Made it better on the eye. Oh, it's really nice. Hello, Cece. Hello, how are you? Good to see you. And how are you doing, Chris? Good to see you, my friend. If you want to pop up here and have a little conversation for a few minutes, you don't have to stay long. Anybody's welcome. I got the link. I think, yeah, put the link right there in the chat if anybody would like to, but no pressure. So, but yeah, the breeding for profit, we were talking about the monster cichlids I used to keep, and then I switched over and I went to the African cichlids. About this, well, I think I was already subscribed to Paul, and I still kept some of the medium-sized Central and South Americans. But I was kind of like making a transition, because I kept those fish for decades. And then I went to the African cichlids, and I started enjoying them a little bit. They are very easy to breed and easy to keep, very hardy. But they lost fashion. The thing of it is I don't want to just have a whole fish room full of African cichlids that I can't move out, and they eat an awful lot. So they're high cost of upkeep, and they take up a lot of tank space where I could be enjoying myself breeding other fish, and then maybe with the fish that breed, I can take some of those fry when they grow them out a little bit and take them to the pet store or sell them online and make a little coin for the fish room. So that's pretty much the conundrum I'm under right now. But I do have some freed up tanks now. I am making a little bit of profit since we started the auction, and I sell some stuff. My black molly sell really good on Get Gills, and so yeah, it's all right. I'm not making a living at it, but it is helping to support my hobby. So that's one thing. Hello, Cabby. How are you? Good to see you in here. Oh, you're back. All right, great. I didn't. I'm scrolling up here to make sure I didn't miss anybody, because if I did, I get talking, right? And my eyesight isn't so good. So if I'm not talking like this, I might be missing something. So I just scroll up every so often to find out. Yeah, Bubbles and Fins, you would like to join us up here today and talk about fish? It's real simple. You just click on the link if you want to. I've not met you yet, but you're more than welcome. Anybody at all who would like to can do that. My barbs sell so. My shubs sell well. Yes, he's got the most beautiful shabunkins. And I tell you what, but I still, his tank called Barb City is my favorite. I love the barbs. I have the cherry barbs, and I tell you what, they're some of my favorite fish in this fish room. I love them. We were on last night, and I was able to see 3G. He's got some albino cherry barbs, and they're beautiful too. Nice rich pink color, We have Fishman. Hello there.
Hey, what's up? It's Sunfish.
Hi, how are you?
Good. I wanted to show off my koi. This is my koi breeding project that I've been working on.
I'm going to put you on the big screen here 1 second. There we go. And over there. There we go.
See if I can get them to come up.
Oh, yeah, I can see some of them.
I just got through feeding them, so they're not so active, but they're active.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, really cool thing. If you guys want to get into koi breeding, worsakoi.com, around the time that they koi start to spawn, they got fry for sale for cheap.
Oh, yeah.
I'll show you guys the koi that I got inside.
Yeah. Hello, Mousy Files. How are you? Good to see you. Hello, Glenn.
We got a koi beta with koi.
Ooh.
Those are all my babies, the little ones.
Do you know Chris Stubbs from Stubbs Aquatics? Oh, you got that. Oh, wow. Yeah, look at that. That is a beautiful betta. Excellent. That's a gorgeous fish right there.
Yeah, PetSmart saved her.
That looks like a plakat, better.
It's a koi.
Yeah, it's a koi. I think it's a koi plakat. It is a koi plakat. I can tell by the shorter fin in the back, and yeah, that's a plakat. Very nice. So how long have you been keeping your koi?
I've been keeping koi for about 2 years now, but these are like the first year for these guys.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's good. That's what he does. He grows them up some of this koi and this Jabunkin goldfish in his inside.
Yes. Yeah, cool. These are just all the runts. See if we can get these ones to come up and eat. Yeah, I got all kinds in here. I got the platinum dunsu. I even got a scaleless platinum dunsu. I don't know how you pronounce it. They're not gonna come up now.
Oh, that's all right. We can see. I can see them.
Yep, I got this pond going. And I got this cesspool right here that I got to work on.
Oh, yeah. That'd make a nice grow out for him, too.
Yeah, this is my original one. This is the first one. This is 1,000 gallon. But I'm going to get a bio flow over system for it.
Oh, yeah. Hey, Chris, why don't you pop up here for a minute? You're a koi and goldfish man. Come and join the chat for a few minutes. You have time? Oh yeah, that's a nice protection right there from the herons and stuff too. Nice netting.
Well, one thing I've learned about koi is if you startle them, they will jump.
Ah.
Yeah, there's my big boys right there.
I immediately thought you had that there to protect them from like predators and stuff.
Oh, both ways.
Yeah, little skipper, welcome in. Because Aquariums has arrived. Good to see you, my friend.
All right, well, I'm going to hop off here next to our neighbors mowing the yard.
Oh, all right. Well, thank you, Fishman, for coming in here. I appreciate it. We'll come back again sometime when you got more time, all right?
All right, bud.
All right, thank you, sir. That was nice. Very nice. Whoop. Get something here. Oh, pressing buttons here. I'm gonna. There it is. Better. So yeah, say hello, Skipper. You know what? We're doing a little bit of a brief recap of the auction last night. So I'll bring that up. It went pretty dang good, I think, for our first one. We had on the American side, we had, I think, 1, 2, 3. We had 4 vendors, me included, and then we had GB Shrimp from the UK side, and he had a big, huge bunch of stuff that he had for his on his side for the auction. Lots of beautiful plants and everything, and I think overall it went pretty smooth. The one thing we had a little bit of and we talked with Elfish. He told us how you do yours, and I've watched yours before, but I never really I never really seen it for myself. But we had it set for like a 3-minute timer, and when it rang out, somebody else did a bit of an increment of $1 more after it rang. And then he said, well, there's a 42-second lag. And we were kind of like, okay, well, the one gentleman had, it was 18 pounds. This is on the British side. 18 pounds for a lot of plants he had. And the other one had bid more, but it was after the bell rang. So it's like, what are we going to do? We're going to take that. And the other guy that just won because the bell rang. And then we're here to make, for the hobbyists to make a little more money. But at the same time, we don't want to, put anybody off by saying, well, I'm sorry, but he's bidding more money even though the bell rang. So it's kind of a gray area. So what I went with is like, if it were me and if I did that and the bell went off and I won it, I'd be very unhappy if they said, okay, well, I'm sorry, but this is another $1 coming in. So I don't know if you'd like to pop up here and explain that. If you'd like to, Skipper, I'm going to put the link in the chat just in case you would like to, and let me know what you think about that. Because that was the only little tiff I think we really had throughout the whole thing. But as the higher bids were coming in, my managing moderator wasn't here until about halfway through, but she, Monster Fish Gal, she's great. She made it in, and then she kind of took over the high bids and stuff. But as it was going, in other words, if I said that Brant and Lightcap here was the high bid, I'd pop it up like this, and then another high bid would come in, I'd go like that. So, and also, we had a suggestion of having like a little timer up on the screen here, like in one of the corners or something. And I seen you had that on yours. I didn't know how to do it myself, but it was our first one. We just kind of put it together pretty quick. I've been thinking about it for a long time, but yeah. Hey, Amanda, how you doing? Good to see you. Then Ginger's here. I have to use this, otherwise I'm half blind. Jeff have an auctioneer to do going once, going twice, and sold. Yeah, Skipper does that. I would normally do that, but I didn't have. I had my vendors up there and stuff, and they probably could have done that, but I just didn't think about it. And then my co-host, if she was here, she'd be able to do that stuff as my admin, help with that kind of stuff. But we'll see how it goes. I mean, that was our first one. And we're planning on doing another one this month. But now, Skipper, you're doing yours on the third weekend, right? Just want to double check. So we're thinking about doing ours like around the 27th, 28th, something like that. And I just want to make sure that it's not impeding any way. I mean, not that it would anyway, because we're new, basically. And I do not like the idea of, doing that kind of stuff. I don't like to stream over anybody. That's why when I do my late night streams, I look at the Fish Fam link, and if it's blank there, unless it's something really super important, like I got fish breeding and I'll pop up for a few minutes or whatever, then. But I don't like to stream over anybody else. I'll be up in a second. All righty. Thank you, sir. And anybody else who would like to jump up here with the conversation, feel free to do so. Rob, you come on up here if you like. That'd be great. Also, I think it's a really great topic, though, too. We're doing this, and we're talking about breeding for profit and finding the fish that we like that are also popular or even semi-popular to help us out in our fish rooms. Because it's exciting, really. I mean, that auction really lit a fire into me last night. I was like, here we are. Here's Mr. Skipper. Hello, sir.
Hello, buddy.
How you doing?
I got some fish acclimating, so I can't stay long.
Okay.
I heard what you were saying. One of my suggestions is what I do is I used to have a timer up if one of my co-hosts can do it. Normally Jason can do it. It's up on his screen because he has the setup for that. I'm not that tech savvy,
I'm not either.
Oh, I better. Hello, everybody. Sorry. So what I do is it is a 3-minute timer, like you said you did. When I'm getting ready to do, when the timer goes off, I put in the chat going once. I write it in the chat specifically because there is a delay between us, like you and I talking, and then what they hear on YouTube. It's like sometimes it's 30 seconds, but it could be a little bit shorter. It just depends on how if the the stars line up with
Yeah.
everybody's internet, right?
Yep.
But so that's what I do. I put in the comments, and I do it right here on StreamYard. You can do it right away through StreamYard, and it shows up in the chat on YouTube. What I do is, if it's going once, going twice, somebody puts in a bid, I start it back over, because now you kind of have like a little bit of a bidding war, right?
Right.
So, like you said, the idea of it is to get as much money for the breeder themselves to get money, right? So that's one of the ways I did it to make it easy. If it says sold and they put it in afterwards, then they don't get it.
Going once, going twice, and then sold. That's the bottom line.
Yeah, because you already got, you got it going. It's 3 minutes. They know it if they're there. Unfortunately, if they come in too late, like into the stream, I'm sorry, but we're already running it, right? That's what I do, and it's I make them put the $sign in, because if it ain't a $sign, then it's not a bid to me, because you don't know. Because when you're doing this auction, you're focused on the auction and what's going on in that chat over there as far as dollars.
Yep.
So if I see a number, I'm not following what they're saying.
Right. Oh no, I don't either. I was.
If I see a question, then that's different.
Yeah.
I'm not. It just makes it easier, makes it run smoother, and stuff like that.
That's a great. I'm going to do that. If you don't mind, if I can copy that part of you, the going one.
That's standard. That's standard.
Okay.
And listen, we may have started it, but anybody can do an auction. I ain't going to get mad. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. All right. I respect you. I just want to make sure.
Yeah. No, we started doing that because, like I said, what was that, last week? I think I was on stream with you somewhere. I forget. Everything runs together.
Oh yeah, that was on M&C Aquatics. I think we were on there Sunday.
Yeah. That was Sunday.
Yep.
But yeah, I wanted to be there Tuesday, but I ended up having an ambulance call I had to go on. I'm gonna rewatch it and see what all was up there. Maybe I'll contact the breeder if they still have stuff. But yeah, I mean that's the thing. You're getting it out there, and like if somebody messages because something comes up, you put in the description or email what they had up for sale.
Yeah. And
they could zoom through and see what these fish are and if they like them.
Yep. I put
still getting a view
in the description. I had their names, their email address.
Mm-hmm.
I think on mine I even had my PayPal on there, but they didn't have all their information for their payment system. So, but well, I did stress that it's important to pay for it in a timely manner because.
So the way I do that part is it's between the buyer and the seller. Okay. I had them CC it of the Aquarius auction so we can make sure everything's kosher. And if there's any issues, I'll address it. And if it's pretty, like, which we haven't had this issue, but if it happens, you're not going to participate in the auction anymore.
Right.
Because I don't want some, stuff bad, between both. It could be a seller, that like, oh, well, I don't have the money. Well, you should not have bidded, right?
Yes. I stressed that at the very beginning. I said, do not bid unless you're ready to pay for it in a timely manner. So,
and then if the breeder or the seller themselves did some shady stuff that you could see in the email, they're not going to participate. But
I'll be sure to mention that to the guys.
Things do happen between auction time and shipping. Okay, you gotta understand that too. So whenever I do them on Saturdays, a lot of them want to get it out on Monday, right?
Yeah.
So that they can get it to your house. So that's why you do the payment in a timely manner, which I'll be addressing at the next auction is the 21st.
Yep.
So stuff does happen. Now, if the breeder says, listen, I am so sorry my tank crashed or something happened to a plant, because unfortunately in this hobby stuff does happen, then whenever you enter emailing each other, you just take care of it. If I'm going to watch it. Like if it's brought up to my attention, I'll read over everything and I'll make a decision.
Yep.
Whether I want that person in the auction anymore or not, and stuff does happen.
Like, I was worried about somebody coming in and, if it's not somebody we already know, basically, it might be just somebody doesn't even have a channel comes in and starts bidding on all kinds of stuff, and then they come back to me, it's like, well, he ordered all these fish from me and he's not paying me on it. And, so they kind of take, and they might even overbid on somebody who would have paid for something possibly. So I make it real clear in the beginning. It says, do not bid unless you're going to be actually buying it. And I tried to say that it would be best if you get all your payments in within 1 hour after the auction's over with.
That's not a bad idea.
Yeah. I was thinking that would be good. Try and get your payments in within, of course, I sold some plecos. My payment didn't come in an hour after, but I know the person who's buying them, and he knows that I'm not going to be shipping them out until next Monday. So, yeah. So going once, going twice, and then sold. I'm going to do that because that would have not only helped, and I'll explain that in the beginning also. I'm going to say this is how it's going. After the bid, we're going to type in the chat in increments, going once, going twice, and when it's sold, it's sold. There's no more bidding after it's sold.
Another thing I do is if there is a bidding war between 2 or 3 people, I let it play out. If I notice that it's at a standstill in the chat, I will say to the people that are in the bidding war, is so and so still in? If they say no, it's done. Nobody else jumps in.
Yeah, they drop out. I've seen that on your auction. People say they say it's yours or I'm done or something like that.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that'll clear that little. It wasn't really it was a little bit of a mess, but not too bad. But that would definitely have cleared that up.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can see out there in the GB shrimp, he was the vendor from Britain.
Oh, that's cool.
And it, I feel bad now, Glenn. I'm sorry about that. Now that I know that how Skipper's doing it, you could have had an extra pound in your sale there. I apologize about that. It was new. It was a new thing for us.
Mm-hmm.
And it gives us an idea to improve it, and with your help, it's definitely going to improve it next time.
Yeah, you learn from each auction, you know what I mean, and how to make it better.
Yeah. Good
thing to do is write stuff down, and then if you figure out a solution, keep it wrote down so you remember to bring it up the next time.
Yeah. That's what Glenn was doing. He's writing stuff down too to help keep it in track and that.
Mm-hmm.
And,
it's a good thing. I'm glad you're doing it too because it gets more out there.
Yes. And last thing I want to have happen is say, well, geez, I went to Jeff's auction and somebody outbid me and they never did pay for it. And then that's another thing I could mention also is that keep track of who was bidding and whatnot. And then I guess that would be kind of a mess. You'd have to contact them and say, well, you know what, the guy didn't pay for it. If you still want it, I don't know. That seems like it'd be a lot of hoo-ha, but
yeah.
But
because it would be. It's kind of hard. It's just one of the things. If it happens, they don't participate again.
Yeah, that's right. Hope that's what we'll do too.
Like what I would have if that happens, that's going to make me start a list. You don't want to be on that list.
Right. That's right.
You know what I'm saying?
You want to come in and participate. You see a fish you like, you buy it. The breeder sends it to you. All good. But you go in there and you start bidding on a bunch of stuff, and it's not there. Then, I think I'll do that too. I'll just say that if they messed up, I'll put them on a list. I'll just write down the name and I'll keep it.
Mm-hmm.
They come
in. On the next auction is the 21st. Holy cow, that's in 10 days.
Oh wow, 21st, and that's at 8 p.m. right?
Yeah, Eastern time.
8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, everybody. And I'm not sure if one of the mods can drop that in the chat or not. You already have it scheduled?
No.
Oh, okay. When you get it scheduled, I'll drop it in the community also.
Yeah, I got to send emails out. I got busy this week. Matter of fact, I'm going to work on that tonight.
Okay.
Throughout the weekend.
Do I dare ask you what kind of fish you got acclimating, or is that a surprise? Probably a surprise.
Oh no, I'll just do a short on them. I got Indian glass fish behind me,
Ooh,
and I got black chin live bears in this tank over here.
oh, the black chin, the Metallica, yeah.
Yeah, I'm the person I got them off of. She had a crash in the tank and she's downsizing. I had them before, so I'm gonna try to bring the colony back.
Okay. Do you have any tiger lineas?
Oh yeah, I do. Yeah, they're going nuts right now.
I got tons of them.
I'm gonna have to put them in a 20. So I got to figure that out because I'm going to set it up somewhere down here.
I got a whole 55 gallon just chucked full of them. They keep breeding, and I got hornwort all over the place. So there's babies everywhere. There's probably I got them from Skull.
I did too.
Yep, he sent me 8 of them, I think, and I probably have 200 in that tank now. There's a lot. They're going to town.
Yeah,
there's a lot of
them. I ended up having an issue with that tank they were in, and I fixed it. I'm like, man, I ended up having like 1 male and like 3 females, so cut it in half. I'm like, I got to get another male. So I was in contact with Skull, and they must have heard me. That male must have heard me because he started doing what he's supposed to.
Yeah, he's going to lose out if he doesn't.
I was like, no, I don't need no more. It's going to do itself, you know?
Yeah. You don't want the competition.
No. I have more than what I need right now.
I just moved that rack back over my shoulder there. It was about 8 feet this way, and I moved it, and I'm building a new stand.
Yeah, I remember that.
Just about got it done, and I lost most of my Xenotopa dodroi Gudeids.
They'll come back.
Yeah, I got 5 little ones that survived it. What happened is I dropped all the water down, and me and my buddy, we screeched it right across the floor, and because I didn't think right. If I'd have taken my time and put net everything out, put it in a bucket, put an air stone in it, and then just set it all back up, and it would have been all right. I didn't go about it right, I've never did anything like that, move a whole rack at the same time. Usually it's one tank. I move a tank over here, move it, somewhere, but it's all a learning process.
Oh, it is.
Yep.
So
it wasn't a members only auction, Mousy. It was for everybody.
Yeah, I want to comment on a couple of those two comments. GRB, vendor's registration fee. If you would do something like that, that's something I don't want to get into. Because you're probably going to have to come up with something to where the taxes and all this other crap. So I don't want nothing to do with that. I have a problem with the members only auction.
Yeah.
What I'm going to say about that may upset some people that do it, but I'm just going to tell you my opinion. That's you wanting members. If you're setting up a members only auction, they have to pay for a membership to be on that auction. To me, I wouldn't do that because I don't feel right doing it, because I think you're wanting to get more members, so you're doing this auction. I get it, but I'm not going to get into that.
One thing I did with mine is I did set it for subscriber only mode.
That's different because you want to keep people out of chat that are bots and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So whenever I do the subscriber only, it's anytime. I don't put a time limit on it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I not for long, but I forgot to do subscriber only on a live stream.
Mm-hmm.
We got a bot in there. I have a whole army of moderators, and they were fighting that guy as much as possible, but they were putting all kind of races. It filled up the whole chat, and it just kept rolling and rolling and rolling. I was like, everybody was, and then finally one of my, I wasn't even able to get in there to set up the subscriber only mode, but one of my moderators, I had managing moderator, Red Laser, and he put on subscriber only mode, and that stopped it.
Yep.
And then even my wife was trying to
you definitely want to do that for the auctions, because if not, you're going to get a lot of that in there.
Oh yeah, subscriber only mode every time. Yep.
Man, back in a few years ago, the bots were really bad.
Mm-hmm.
And it was not so nice stuff, links they were putting in there and stuff like that.
It was terrible. I mean, this is all hatred,
Yeah.
speech, and all that kind of stuff. I was like, no, that's not allowed here.
And it was weird because they were able to put links in there. YouTube, I think, fixed that part.
Yeah.
But I still think that they could do it.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to keep a subscriber-only mode on.
Yeah.
And, that's going to be it for that.
I like what Alishon says. Yeah.
Oh, let's see here.
That's pretty much what I do. Yeah.
If you want to make money for sellers, it makes no sense to have members-only auction. Yeah, that's right. Yep. I have it just subscriber-only. Just keep the bad guys out, and then and it's like this. Somebody wants to come in and a real person, not a bot.
Yeah.
They want to come in and subscribe, and they want to be a part of the bidding. They can come in and subscribe, and if they decide they didn't like it, they can always unsubscribe when they go out.
Yeah, that's how I see it. Yep.
Yep. So, but at least they'll keep the bots out, I think.
Yeah.
That's the main thing. So, and who knows? They might even enjoy the auction and stay on. That'd be good too. I'm getting close to my 1K now. I think I'm 37 subs away from it. So,
I noticed a lot. Like whenever you do that, it's a big interest. I've noticed on, and I'm not so much on getting subscribers from or viewer stuff or whatever, because a lot of times if somebody throws a super chat in there, I set that money to the side. Or if one of the sellers like do something or whatever, I set that money aside. I don't keep that for me. I do a giveaway or something during an auction for the people that are there. That's what I do. I don't.
Yep.
I'm not there to make money. I'm there to help bring good quality fish to people.
Yep. Your hobby is first, and you're doing a service for people on the auction, and getting them involved in the hobby and stuff. I do that too. And people will give me a super chat and give some memberships and stuff like that, and that all helps. That goes right into the channel. I'm trying to get more fish and stuff to help them, stuff like that. And yeah, it's fish come for people come first, and then the fish, and then everything else is just icing on the cake, really.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. But that I really appreciate that. It's going to help us out a lot. That going one, because that right there, I feel like I feel terrible for Glenn, because if we'd have done that, you'd have had we're here to make the breeders get as much money as they can, make a little money, and like you say, putting good homebred stuff and plants and whatnot into people's hands. And like I said, me and you both, we don't make any money off that auction, but like I said, in some situations, I see something some of the vendors have for sale. If I like it, I'll get it.
Yeah. I actually did that. I've done that a couple times.
Yep, I seen that.
Or I'll bid on during the auction and do it.
Yep.
I mean, that's what it's there for.
Yep. Absolutely.
Let's go.
Yep, it was fun though. I really did enjoy it. I was a lot less nervous than I thought I was going to be. I'm usually a little bit high strung, but it went smooth. We got in there and just started right off, kind of like business-like. Okay, this is it. We explain the rules, and then if you're going to bid, make sure you're going to buy, and make sure to do it in a timely fashion, and use the $ or the pound sign for the English before your bid. That's that too. But having a little timer or something on the screen would be nice, and also the going once, going twice, and so that's going to be a huge. That's huge. I mean, having somebody do that.
It's definitely going to help you. It helps. Trust me.
So after the third minute, people are still bidding. I'll say going once, going twice, and then sold, and then that's the bottom line.
I don't do it real quick. The going once, twice, and sold.
Yeah. You just wait like about 30 seconds in between.
I do like maybe 15 seconds or whatever in between.
Okay. Yeah. I was just saying that I put a space in between them too.
Oh yeah. Okay.
But yeah, that's a fantastic way to do it.
But my daughter needs me, so I'm gonna have to get going. My wife's not with me yet. So
thank you very much, Skipper. Appreciate it.
You're welcome, bud.
Thank you, sir.
anytime you can contact me.
All right.
All right.
Hey,
All right.
I'm sorry. What was your name?
Tom Skipper's my name.
Tom Skipper. Oh, Tom. Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Skipper. You have a great day now.
I'll see you guys later.
All righty. Appreciate it. Oh, that was great. That's going to come in so handy, Glenn, and everybody else involved in the auction. That's going to be nice. Free subscriber mode only when actually useful. Now there's a lot of less trolls and bots. Yes. We're saying thank you, Skipper. I didn't see much in chat because I was just hanging on to every single word there. So let's see here now. I'm going to scroll up and see what we got here. Next tank is planned 75-gallon saltwater, coral, and seahorse tank. Ooh. Yeah, we have the Seahorse Whisperer on tonight. I'll probably be on that stream. Well, I'm not on it, but I'll be in the chat. I've never had saltwater yet, but they are fascinating. Very nice. Mr. Fishbird, I'm pretty sure it was Mickey's Aquariums. Here we are. I don't know where Charlotte's at, but this is her Stream Elements. If you're not subscribed to her, she's got a great channel, Lottie's Nature, and she's building up. She does great shorts on there, and I think she's even going to start doing some long form video pretty soon. So, if you guys haven't been over there, you should check that out. And let's see here. Cool Zen, that sounds awesome. He also said no cichlids, so I got angelfish. There you go. I'm kind of a cichlidaholic myself, though. Cichlids are my favorite fish. I gotta say that. I love a lot of fish, and I mean a lot of fish. But cichlids are definitely my favorite branch of the fish keeping community. I'm getting into the really dwarf ones, like little pistogrammas and stuff. They're beautiful. But I've had some bruisers in my day. With my dogs, Rob. I heard your pug drops the guts going, oh. Oh. The proud moment. Stink pug? Okay. I'm just catching up here. Got Riddle. Who can swim all day but never gets tired? Answer, a fish. Yeah. I would love a big tank, but until we move, I'm capped at a 40-gallon in area. Spread 29s, 20s, and 10s all through the house. Yeah, that's nice. That's what I pretty much did before we moved to this house, got this basement. We got a little more room here, so I'm able to actually have most of my fish consolidated down here. Don't apologize, silly sausage. You'll learn as you go, Jeff. Yeah, well, I but still, it's just out of kindness and out of respect to Glenn about that. Because had I known, we could have done that and he did let his plants go at a very more than reasonable price. And I would have, but like you say, live and learn, and we learned that. So, yep. Wait till Sniper Rob starts bidding. There you go. Yes. When is your next auction? That's the 21st. You're talking on that. Yep, 21st at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And our auction will be, I think, tentatively, and it is something we'll have it actually pinned down. It'll be after the 25th, I know, but we still haven't locked it down to exactly what day it's going to be. But we do know it's going to be after the 25th. And it's going to be a lot of fun. And anybody who's watching, if you're in America anyway, and if you're watching from Britain, get a hold of Glenn or Rob if you want to be a vendor for the next one. And if you breed fish or shrimp or you have plants that you want to sell and you'd like to participate in it, it's real easy. All you have to do is when you let us know, we put it in the description, and then we will send you the link either via email, or if you're in Messenger, we can put it in the comment section there, and you can join. and we just bring you up one at a time, and you show off your goods and stuff that you want to auction off, and maybe make a little bit of money and put stuff into other people's hands. Participate. It can be a lot of fun. I think anybody who would like to do that, please just check what you want to do and let us know. Want to make money for sellers. It makes no sense to have members only. Yeah, we're not going to do members only, but we do have the. Thank you again, Skippers. Thank you so much, sir. He's a heck of a nice guy. I tell you what, I've been watching his channel, but I go to the auctions. A lot of time I'll just kind of lurk because I don't ever have money to bid, but I watch and give a like. Charlotte was in chat. Oh, I didn't see her. I didn't see her in here. Where is she at? Scrolling all the way up here. I don't see her anywhere. Well, she doesn't need a link to get in here because she's the admin. All she has to do is click on it. I did some of my auctions on band. Oh, okay. I don't have a band. Well, I can go into band, but I don't have an actual site where I'm selling stuff like that. But yeah. All right. So let's get back to business in this meeting. And that is the main topic right there: breeding for profit and fun, and finding the balance doing both. What do you guys breed for fish? And if any of you out there do a little bit of profit, not like for a living, but supporting your fish room and whatnot. Maybe you are maybe it is a living. I know Glenn's got a business. He does that, selling his products for shrimp and all kinds of stuff. I'm gonna do mine a little different next time. Yes. Well, I think it was a pretty good icebreaker we had, though, Glenn, on that one. Gave people an idea of what kind of to expect, but the prices we did are really cheap. I mean, if you went somewhere to get a sex pair of albino plecos for, I put $8 on it. That was a really cheap price, and then it went up to $25. Jeff, why is your nose crooked? Is it? Maybe it's just I don't. Oh, why is your house crooked? Oh, I know why. Because of I don't have my. There, that's better. The way this. Oh, I know why. It's because there we go. It's because of this camera I got on my laptop here. It's one of the hangs over the edge of it, and it kind of makes it look like I was like something like that. I don't breed for profit. I sell dry goods to help support my hobby. Oh yeah, dry goods. But I mean, if you had a lot of shrimp that you wanted to, if you had extras or something, you might consider doing that once in a while. That's better. Okay. No, I thought see, I didn't have this. My nose crooked. What's my? And I'm like, what happened to my nose? That is funny. Hopefully we'll be getting some glasses sometime before I die. I'll get them. But this helps a lot. Yes. This is a very important message right here. There we go. I definitely appreciate everybody coming in here. So what I'm trying to do is I want to get fish that I like, and that might be also like the bristlenose. I was talking to Greg. Greg was in here, and he's talking angelfish and bristlenose are good fish to print a little bit of money for your fish room because they breed fairly easy, and everybody wants them. At one time or another, somebody's going to need a bristlenose to clean the algae out of your tank, and then angelfish are just beautiful. Last night when Greg was on here, was you here for that, Rob, when he did his tour? He showed his angelfish were looking even more magnificent than usual. Isn't that right, June? You've seen them. Got into a fight with an apisto. Oh. Uh-oh. I just got a message here. 1 second, in case it's my wife. Oh, it's Chris. Chris Stubbings. Oh, yes. His wife has a video out. It's Glorium Vertical Light Review. I will check that out. Oh, for about 5 minutes. I know it was. I kept putting the link in, hoping that it would be a little bit earlier, but I know it was awful late for you. It was probably about 7 o'clock in the morning for you, I think. They are gorgeous angelfish, though. Mum's the word, GRB. They are excellent angelfish. I love them all. There ain't one angelfish he has that I wouldn't like. But them black ones are just, oh man, they just pop out like crazy. And a pistol with lips like Joe Bugner made his nose crooked. Yeah. I could have sworn they said it looked like nose, but I didn't have this up, so I was like, nose. I crashed all day and night, Jeff. Couldn't lift my head off the pillow. Ah. Hello, Ed. Are you home or are you at work? In case you're here, I'm going to drop this link because this is a man who knows about breeding for profit. I'll drop this in here also. Not that anybody else doesn't know, but in case you'd like to join me, Ed, there it is. Just having a little discussion about breeding for profit and finding a balance between what you like and what you can sell. In other words, we were mentioning earlier that with all these Malawi cichlids, I really like them, but they just don't sell. So I'm going to keep some for my wife and maybe some for myself, but it's going to be contained just to a small, a couple tanks. Hello, Big Steve. Hello. You just got home. Okay. Well, if you want to get situated and take it easy for a bit, if you want to jump up here, I'll drop the link. And we can talk about breeding for profit, because I know you did a talk the other day at one of your clubs about it. And any knowledge we could get would be appreciative. It's espresso on American decision. Americano. Ooh. This time of day, I'd probably go Americano. Morning, probably espresso, but hey, coffee's good anytime. I got just good old cup of mud here, and I tell you what, it's hitting the spot. Oh, and it is good. I was very impressed with the plants last night. Absolutely. He sold those at a extreme bargain. I think it was just like an initiation type sale, because those plants were quite expensive, and he let them go dirt cheap. If I ever get good with these with my aquariums, I'm good with fish, but I'm new to plants. If I ever get good like that, I might take one of my tanks, one of my new ones, and just try to do a little container garden on a bare glass floor, and then just try to keep everything growing up in the pots. Yeah, Rob agrees. Americano. I tried to make breeding for profit a thing, but nobody wants to buy my children. Oh, Mandy. Yeah. Nobody wants to buy my children. Well, at least you got a good breeding project going on. That's more than a lot of people do. You'll need more than one tank if you're doing plants. Yes. Absolutely. Absolutely. Here is Ed now. Here we are.
How's it going, everyone?
Going good. How are you doing, sir?
Doing okay. So I got good news. I was just offered the position and I accepted it.
Oh, congratulations.
Yeah. So let me switch my camera and I'll be with you folks in 1 minute.
Sure. Sure thing. See here, I got the figures together, and I'm slightly out of pocket on the whole order, but used 2 myself and gave a friend 6. So Just pennies above break even, really. Oh, well, that's better. At least you didn't lose a lot. Kind of. You would have had an extra pound had I known the other stuff, though. But that's. We have a lot of people saying hello to you. We have Branton Lightcap. We have Mr. Fishbird. A bunch of people in here. We have GB Shrimp. Congratulations to you, Ed.
Thank
Congratulations, Fishbird. We have Greg from 3G. A fantastic breeder of fish. I tell you what, he doesn't ship right now, but he's talking about doing it. And I will be, when that time comes, I will be buying some fish. Got my good deeds from Ed today. Oh, Brandon Lightcap. You got your good deeds today. Came in happy and healthy, he says.
Yeah, he sent me a video a little while ago. I appreciate that, Brandon.
Nice.
They look good. They look good.
Yes. Glenn gave me 6 plants. I finished planting my discus tank today. Oh, wow. You're going to have to do a live stream tonight, Rob, so I can see those. My pleasure, Roberto. Thanks, Rob. Set a date to get them yet. I think he's already got them, what I seen. He got them today. Okay, so breeding for profit, and now I know that you like the wild type live bears mostly, which I like them too. And I was talking. I put my Limias up last night. I had like a 6 plus 2 was 8 Tiger Limias, and I put a $10 price tag on it, and it never went anywhere. I'm thinking that it's probably because it's more of a niche category. I mean, if people wanted them, yeah.
Well, what I found, I've been working with critically endangered fish for about 6 years. So what I'm finding is a lot of people don't understand them, or they don't understand the importance of working with them. So when I saw your subject, I thought it was interesting. So that's why I logged on. Oh. I have a lot of people that reach out to me that want to breed fish for profit. So the first thing I tell people, and I think Brandon knows this, we had this talk, and when I say this, it's not me being disrespectful to anyone or deflating anyone's bubble. But everyone needs to realize you're not going to be able to quit your job and fund yourself with this. I have a full-time job in healthcare, and I just took a new full-time job, and I have 120 aquariums. And it's, I mean, I'm making a little bit of money, but it's not enough money to sustain my business and pay for my home and my bills and stuff. So what you have to do is, understand that there are some people out there that have been very successful with it, but they have diversified. So that's the first thing I tell people. So I tell people it can be done. It's a lot of work. So I tell people, don't go to your job tomorrow and say, hey, I'm quitting my job. I'm opening a business breeding fish. It's a lot of work. I know that sounds a little dismal, but it's just being honest.
It's reality. It's real. Unless you have like 500 aquariums and a lot of variety of fish. I don't know. I know that I watch Dan. He does it for a living in Wyoming, but he does a lot of import, and he gets a lot of like wholesaler stuff coming in. He not really breeding for profit, but he does breed fish, and then he does sell this fish. He breeds also.
Yeah.
But so most of his sales.
He breeds some fish, but he also does a lot of wholesale.
Yeah.
So what's nice about Dan too? Dan is a friend of mine. He also
Oh, you're breaking up just a wee bit.
An accredited vet of some type that is able to diagnose diseases, and so.
Oops. It just went dark, and we lost your audio for a moment.
Yeah, sorry. So that's one of the things I think it's great that he has someone on staff that can effectively diagnose disease and treat them. Like I had said, I thought it was interesting, this subject. I've been doing that. I've bred fish for many years, but I've only done it at this capacity over the last 6. So what I always tell people, and it's, again, I don't want to deflate anyone. It's a rewarding hobby for me, but it's a lot of work. I do water changes every day. And if I didn't have my friend Larry helping me, I wouldn't be able to do this at all. So, and I still work a full-time job. But the other thing I would tell people, find a species that's going to set you apart. And the reason I say that is because there's a lot of people that breed guppies. Nothing wrong with guppies, but find something that will set you apart. So for me, when I was watching Greg Sage one night and I saw this, and this has just become my niche with critically endangered fish. But for my niche, for me, someone who just basically wants a regular aquarium, I'm not necessarily going to get those types of people. So if you really want to work on growing for profit and turning it into a business, recognize the types of people that you want to serve. And I really wanted to work with the conservation aspect of it because, and what I always tell people is what Dr. Paul Loisel says, and also Dr. Lyons. If everyone in the hobby took one tank and committed it to a critically endangered species, we would have a bloodline to work with for many, many years. A lot of the bloodlines are disappearing, so that's kind of why, and that's kind of my niche. Shrimp seem to be very popular right now, so what I tell, find something that's going to, and I also tell people, find a fish that's going to work in your water parameter.
Yeah. Mark Shelley, I'm not sure if you're familiar with him. He was the first in the auction last night.
Prime example, I can't work with angelfish at all. My water just will not allow. Even with my RO, for some reason they just don't work here.
Huh.
My water parameters, as I've said many times, it's like liquid limestone. So live bearers are perfect for me. So that's.
You remember 3G had mentioned if you try to do them in distilled water, raise the eggs will hatch.
I'm going to try that. But can I tell you, they haven't spawned for me in a few weeks. So I'm hoping. But I am going to try that, and I appreciated that. I'm going to try that. I don't really focus that much on cichlids. I've told a few people I had some dwarf cichlids here. I'm just going to share an experience with you. So my Ed's Aquatic Exotics has been open for 6 years. I did dwarf cichlids. I'm not saying dwarf cichlids aren't a niche for some people. They just weren't for me. I had 300-400 babies at a time, and I couldn't move them. So
wow.
For me, yeah.
That's something I can sell. Pretty quick.
I was literally giving away Shelleys to people because you have to look at it from a standpoint for me. I do have a business, so I have to watch expenses. If I'm feeding 300 and 400 fish and they're not moving, I need to focus my attention. And for me here, I'm very fortunate where my goodeids do very well and stuff. So that's one of the things I tell people is find a niche that's going to work for you.
Yep.
And something that's going to make you a little different.
Yes, absolutely. Now, about your pistos, when you bred them, did you use RO water for those, or did you just use your tap water?
I'm sorry, for which fish?
For the pistos, when you had the little dwarf cichlids, and when you bred them?
No, the dwarf cichlids I worked with were all Tanganyikan.
Oh, the Tanganyikan, okay.
I worked with all dwarf Tanganyikan cichlids, again, because my water parameters.
Yeah.
So the reason I'm trying angelfish is for my BAP program with my club, and I'm just not being successful. But I am going to try the distilled water. I'm open to suggestions.
I'm sure you're going to have success with that.
Yeah. So,
it'll happen. Yeah, it'll happen. With your dedication that you do with your tanks and your facility there, you'll make it happen. If not with that pair, you can always acquire another pair and then try it again.
Yeah. Right. Well, like I said, it was like when you asked me to go jump on, I'm like, okay, but I don't want to come across to anyone as being a Debbie Downer, so to speak. But as someone that's been doing this for a while, I like to be a realist and let people know.
Yeah.
I'm not saying don't do it. Just know your limitations and understand it takes time to build a business. It's not going to happen overnight. And again, if I can't stress more, find something that's going to set you apart from everyone else.
Yep. In my situation, pretty much the income I make is from the fish room because I'm not able to leave the home to get a job outside because of the situation that we have here with my wife and her health.
Sure. Yeah, sure.
But so I, everything I do down here between the channel and this, it really helps us out a lot.
Oh yeah.
And I mean, I may even do like a combination of both. Like, Dan is a great. I don't know him personally, but I do chat with him like on his channel and stuff, in the comments.
Dan is the type of person, if you met him out in the community and went up and introduced you, hi Dan, I'm so and so, I watch your stream, he would sit and talk to you for a few minutes. He's a very approachable person.
Yeah, he's a nice guy.
That's the same with my buddy Greg Sage. Greg Sage, you ask him a question, he'll sit for an hour and talk to you about it. He's willing to share, and that's one of the things too that I find. If you want to have a successful business, be willing to share with people, and realize you have to take that time to help people. So it's if you really want to do it on a grand scale, it's a lot of time and hard work and investment. So.
Yeah, and likely to make any profit, you probably want to do like what Dan does, getting the wholesalers price. And
if you look at it this way, so this you can do it a couple of different ways. If you do wholesale, you can do volume. Now for me personally, I can do wholesale if I want, but I personally prefer to say I've bred these fish. I know what's going on with them since the day of their birth, and that's just my part of mine. So I won't wholesale. I don't see a problem with it. But my business plan is I only sell what I breed, because I actually enjoy breeding them. I have friends that do wholesale, so I will tell you. Years ago, I was importing guppies, and you spend a lot of money bringing them in importation and stuff. I'll look everyone in the eyes in the camera. When I receive my guppies, within the first week, I would lose 35 to 40% of what was shipped in. I had major loss. So I was hoping that the ones I was getting would drop fry that would be in my water, and then they'd grow from there. And there's a reason why. What a lot of people don't tell you, a lot of these live bearers that are being bred in Taiwan and places like that, they're being bred in very brackish water, high salinity. So when they come here, our water is different. You may put them brackish, but if you're putting them in fresh water like a lot of people do, within a month or two, they can go into organ failure. So acclimating them to the water too. So I was importing, but I had a lot of loss. And the profit margin I had, it just wasn't conducive to what I wanted to do. So that's why me personally, I prefer breeding, and I know what I have, and I can tell the history of them. So some of these bloodlines I work here, I've had 6 to 8 generations, but that's just my business model. There are a lot of people. Dan does that, and he's been very successful with it. But the thing that's different with Dan is, he's shared his protocol for isolation and what he does, and that's the thing too. So I tell people, if you're going to wholesale, have some sort of plan in place, because you don't want to just be selling fish right out the gate that you're getting in, because shipping is stressful and little bugs can show up at any given time. So it just, like I said, it just depends on what model you want to do. So
another thing that Dan does that I really like is he will actually buy fish from hobbyists if it's something that he wants to sell in his facility.
Yeah, there's a few people he does that with.
And he does 25% of retail value, which is not bad for if you're having like a lot of volume going to him. He'll do that.
I considered doing that with some of my shell dwellers, but fortunately I found someone, because I'm not exaggerating, Jeff. I had 3 to 400 multifasciatus, and they weren't going anywhere. No one was interested. I had it on my website. They weren't going anywhere. So for me, it just wasn't a fish that was moving. So I had considered doing that, but then I lucked out and someone was interested locally that took them to their store, and they took all of them. I was shocked. But yeah, Dan offers that too. So basically, he does a certain percentage of what the market rate is and all of that. But that's a good outlet for someone if they have a lot of fish, they need to move, and he's very easy to get along with. So.
Yes. So I mentioned to him one time when he was doing he does his giveaway every Wednesday night at 9 o'clock. Well, not at 9 o'clock, but later on in the evening, our time. But he mentioned that if breeders, if you have something, let us know, and in the chat even. So I said, well, I'm trying my best. I have some, and similar to you with the Godiads and the other rare live bears, the wild type bedders that are highly endangered that I have. I'm trying to do that as well, but I haven't gotten them. I think I need to get some RO water because they do breed. The male will hold the eggs in his mouth, but within a couple of days, he either swallows them or spits them out, and they're not good.
I have fish here. I have fish here in my fish room. The parameters are perfect. Everything is right. They're getting the best of food. And still, sometimes you just have. I've had fish spawn literally up to 6 times before they get it right. And you just have to have that patience. And it's funny because I've been doing fish for so many years, and when I get a new species that spawns, I act like a little kid. I still have that excitement with it all. So last year when I bred my first, believe it or not, my egg scatterers, last year was the first time I successfully bred egg scatterers. And I figured out my own niche to how to do it. And the first time I was successful with it, it was like I was like a kid at Christmas. My family was laughing at me. But when you conquer one of those things and you successfully spawn or breed something for the first time, it's like, and there's no other feeling to that. And then watching them grow. So there's a lot of rewarding things doing this. But I'm not going to lie. There are days I don't want to come down here, but I have to. And that's the thing to remember, because everyone's like, wow, you're living my dream. Well, yeah, it's something, I wanted to do this too, but you have your days. I'm sure everyone has. And I'm sure you have, Jeff. You have days where you don't want to go down in the pit. You're going to, of course, take care of them and feed them, but you want to do the bare minimum that day because you're just not feeling it for the day. So that's something to take into account. So I just try to be a realist with people when they want to do this for profit. So I was kind of so when you would ask me to come on, I'm like, well, could I be honest and say, because it comes from a good place? Because like I said, I think some people get the wrong impression. Oh, I can take a couple tanks and I can make lots of money. Doesn't work that way. So other than that.
I noticed up here I had 3G here. He can't breed his bristlenose plecos or his angelfish fast enough for the demands of his LFS.
Give me 1 second. I got a fan blowing and I can't hardly hear you. Give me 1 second. I'll be right back.
All right. Is my volume low, guys? Just to ask you.
It has nothing to do with you, Jeff. What it is, I'm getting older. My hearing's not the best as it should, and when I have a lot of sounds around me, I can hear you perfect now. So what was that? One
other thing before I start with this one. When I started breeding fish was back in 1974, and back then I could actually, with convicts, even back then, I was able to sell them for a pretty decent penny. I would take them into my fish store, and I would trade them for other fish. They would give me quite a bit of credit for them. But that was back in the 70s. Now, there's fish will trend. I think it goes. I remember when the Malawi cichlids were so hot, you couldn't get them fast enough. And so I thought, oh, wow, well, I'm going to start breeding for profit. I'll do those. The time I got those is just when it was ending. And it was like already in the dying phase. It was like, it might come back in 10 years. You never know.
Well, can I tell you something? That's something Greg and I talk about all the time. So Greg has had his facility for going on 15 or 16 years. And what will happen sometimes, he'll sell to people and he'll check to see how they're doing. So what a lot of people do, they breed these fish for a while and then they get rid of them. And when so many people do that, this is how the populations plummet. So what I always tell people is when you're working with a fish, stick with it. But like I used to have my own store in the 90s. and that was before the internet. So my store was here in PA, and I had people literally from West Virginia, Ohio, all over that would come to my fish store. I can remember the stuff, what I did then. Today, because the market is so saturated with certain species, I can remember species when they came in what they were going for and what they're going for now. Now, it's a good and it's a bad thing because these species numbers are growing and it's good for the hobby. But for someone breeding for profit, a fish that you may have got $10 for a few years ago, you're lucky you get $2 now. And when I tell people, when you sell to a store, I can say this, I used to have a store. A store is not going to pay you top dollar for your fish. They're going to give you what they can afford. So think about it. So if they're a guppy in a pet store, what do they usually go for? Around here, it's usually $4.99 for one, or $8.99 a pair. A store is certainly not going to give you that money. You may get $1 for a guppy. You may get less than that. So I tell people, if you want to breed for profit, it's okay to use stores as a resource. But I also tell people, if you open up the shipping, you have a better potential of making more money that can either sustain your hobby or be profitable.
Absolutely. I know that when I made some decent money off get gills on a lot of my stuff. Like I have a few fish that I breed on a continuous basis, like my black mollies. Every time I put those up, they sell out within a week.
Well, when I saw those black mollies, that is a good strain. And if you don't mind me giving you a word of advice, please hold on to them, because from what it seems like that's a strong strain, and that's a strain that needs to continue on, because as many people know, a lot of live bearers today are not doing as well. So when you find a strong strain and you keep developing that line and getting it better and better, those are the types of live bearers people need to have. People have so many bad experiences with live bearers because, not to try to bash the pet stores, but they're getting fish shipped in volume, and I can remember when I had my store, I was getting my fish from a particular vendor that's still in business. They would pack 20 guppies in a bag. Now, just the nitrogenous waste from respiration alone, and then the fish would get ammonia burn. When the fish get ammonia burn, what happens? You end up losing some. So I always tell people that if you want live bearers, it's just my personal opinion, has nothing to do with the fact that I breed live bearers. A lot of people tell me that getting them privately from someone, they do better than going to a pet store just because of the packaging. However, there are some people that pay that extra freight for them to be packaged when they're not so packed in. But the reason I got into that is because mollies. So mollies, I can remember mollies were some of my favorite live bearers. Today, the only mollies I have are Volifera, and that's the Yucatan King Giant Peninsula, Yucatan Peninsula molly, and they're my favorite. But I love mollies, but I don't see any good quality strains. And when I saw your video of that, that's a nice strain. So if you don't mind me saying, hold on to that.
Yeah, I want to build. See, I only put them out in very limited numbers too, so I don't sell them until they're at least 1.5 inches long.
Yeah.
Or I say 1.5 inches to 2.5 inches, because that's the full size. I might send them out, but I try to get the smaller, like the juveniles. And I don't want to say I made the same mistake with my mystery snails. I know that that's not a fish, but I would sell out of my mystery snails, and they didn't go for big money. I'd sell like $1 a piece or something, but I'd sell them out.
You're selling in volume, so it makes up for it.
Yeah, they get like, I was selling, I think it was on Get Gills, I think it was 10 mystery snails. I think I was selling them for like $12.50 or something. People would buy it, and then they'd pay the $25 shipping on top of it.
Yeah.
So, but at that price, I mean, they went out. They just bought them.
Yeah.
I had a lot of videos on my mystery snails. They're just beautiful. I mean, they're just, their tentacles are all over the place, and people see them like, oh, I got to have them.
Have you ever seen the blue mystery snails?
No, I haven't. The blueberry snails, I haven't seen those yet. I've heard about them.
So they're calling them blueberry. I know them as blue. So through every so often, I'll do wholesale ordering of plants, and I'm able to get those. When I need to do my next order, I don't know when that'll be. I'll look, and if they're available, I'll get some and I'll ship them to you.
Oh,
They
yeah.
get, they get very big, and they're a deep dark blue. They're sharp.
I know there's the blue mystery snails, but there's also a different species called the blueberry that it's black flesh, but it has red spots on it.
I've heard of them. I haven't seen any of them yet.
I think I've heard a few people that have them and they're breeding them, but that's something I'd love to get a hold of something like that.
Yeah. And that's another thing too, is trends. It sounds crazy, but there are trends in the aquarium hobby, just like anything else.
That's right.
Yeah.
Something that's fashionable today, it won't be maybe a year from now.
Yeah, exactly. So like right now, for me, I've changed my model of my fish room a little bit this last year. Up until about 6 months ago, I had about 45 different species in my fish room. And what was happening, so I have people that are constantly messaging me for my crocodons. So because I only had so many, crocodons only have maybe up to 10 to 20 fry within a season. So they're not that prolific. And I was having to tell a lot of people, I'm sorry, I don't have them available right now. So instead of losing that business and disappointing customers, what I'm doing now are growing numbers of species. So I've cut my species down to less than half. But like my crocodons, I have 6 tanks of them. Along with those 6 tanks, I have 5 tanks for rearing. So what I do, I find that they ship out best when they're young adults or juveniles. So I'll ship out anywhere from 8 weeks up to 4 months. And that seems to be doing well for me. But I was, in the last year, I turned away so many people that wanted crocodons, and I just didn't have them. So what I did this year is change all of that. So by this time next year, pretty sure most people that would message me for crocodons, I'll have them available, because that's another thing. It's really cool to say, oh, I like this fish, I like this fish, I like this, and have all these different fish. But if you're having to turn away a lot of customers, then you need to rethink things, and that's what I had to do. So I'm always evolving with my fish room here to what it is. But there are some things I will keep. There's certain, like the teacup platies that I have, the fireballs. Mm-hmm. It's my favorite domestic, and I just breed that for me. But other stuff, I'm focusing more on how I can better serve my customers and what they're wanting. So that's another thing too, is I literally keep a database of notes of what people are looking for, and I see what's trending for me at the time and work with it. You may get a prime example. I have trout goodies, and I think I told you this.
Yeah.
Corey from Aquarium Co-op did a video like a year or two ago about trout goodies. And I was literally averaging 5 to 10 emails or calls a day, people wanting trout goodies. And I just didn't have the numbers. So I worked on building the numbers. And this year I have the numbers, and I've only sold 2 sets. So that just goes to show you it's what's popular at the time. And who knows, maybe tomorrow I'll get 8 calls. You never know. So that's something. So one of the things you need to realize is sometimes you have to realize that something may sell and something may not, or depending on what type of exposure fish is getting at the time. So, and the trout goodie, it's one of my favorites.
Oh yeah, they're beautiful.
And you can mix them in with a lot of decent fish, as long as you keep them within the same close water parameters. So.
Yes, and we were talking about having a collaboration, me, you, and Skull Aquatics, because he has the trout goodies too, and he has a lot of he has some other fish that I wouldn't mind trying to get. He has the Yucatan sailfin mollies, wild strain.
That's what I have that too. I will tell you with those, I call them the canary of the aquarium world, because their water has to be spot on, because if not, they're prone to skin infections.
Oh.
Yeah, you have to keep very clean water. I do water. I'm not going to lie. I'm doing water changes once a week, but I'm doing the tank halfway down.
Okay, 50%.
best would be doing water changes with them twice a week. They have to have really high oxygenated water and clean water. If not, they're prone to skin infections.
Okay.
So that's the thing to remember. But can I tell you, you haven't experienced beauty until you've seen one of those males when they come into season with their sails spread all the way out and dancing in front of the female.
Yeah, they are.
It's something. And what a lot of people don't realize, if those fish are taken care of properly and fed well, so you need to feed those fish 4 or 5 times a day in small amounts. If they're being fed properly, the males can get up to 5 inches long.
Yeah, that's a whopper. That's beautiful.
It is, and they're beautiful fish. So. But yeah, I have some here. They're just maintaining. They're not. I'm actually considering phasing them out, just keeping them as my pets, and when they pass off, I'm not going to. There's a couple bloodlines here that I'm considering if I want to continue working with them.
Yeah, at this point, I'm just basically, I've been talking with a lot of people, like earlier with Greg. He has his money makers are his angelfish and bristlenose. So, and so far with mine, it's the black mollies, but I need to find a couple more species that don't breed so easily that everybody does it, but easily enough that I can do it fairly well, because that's what I do. That's
what I did, Jeff.
Yep.
Because I did. I wanted something different. I wanted to do something that I also had purpose with, that not everyone was working with. So here's what I'm finding, and the more people work with critically endangered fish, they'll see this. You'll have people that will start breeding a fish, and well, it's just a little gray fish, or it's just a little brown fish, or whatever, and like they get over it. Fine, if you want to work with a critically endangered fish, find one you're gonna like and stick with, because that's the key to critically endangered. The key to critically endangered is maintaining those bloodlines. And like I said, and if you're gonna breed something you enjoy. And so what I always tell people when they first want to start out, work with stuff you can afford at first. And then once you've made a little bit of money, squirrel a little bit away of that money, and then work on getting something for a challenge. You know, when I told my friends some of the money I invested in Cracodons, my one friend turned purple. He couldn't believe what I paid. But I paid for a quality bloodline that is paid off for me. So I always tell people, if you're just starting out, start out small and build from there. Don't like plecostomus. I've seen some plecostomus go for $400 and $500 a piece.
Oh yeah.
Granted, we all love to breed those and make money on those.
Mm-hmm.
But breed what you can afford, but also breed what you can afford to lose if something happens.
Yeah.
You know, and I always tell people, don't squirrel all your bloodline away in one fish tank. Because if a tank crashes, you have another set to fall back on. So
that's what I did with my Xenotokas. I put them into 2 tanks, okay, and then one of the heaters exploded in one and killed everything except for one female.
Yep.
So I got her out and I got her in another tank, and she's doing well.
Yeah.
And then then from the other tank, I had a nice little male that I wanted to put with her in the tank, and then I got a few others I put in. And then when I moved the rack over, I lost all but 5 in that tank. So I got like about 5 or 6 little ones growing up back in it. And I'm hoping I get a mixture of sexes in there. They'll probably just take back off again once they grow up.
Yeah. If you get at least 2 males and the rest females, you should be able to rebuild that colony. So here's something to talk about really quick. A lot of people think, oh, you need to introduce new bloodline. You need to introduce new bloodline another time. Fish are not like mammals. A prime example is the Zephophoris Genetic Lab in Texas, which is at the University of Texas. The fish they work with, all of their bloodlines came from a couple pairs that they collected in the wild, and they've been producing over these years. The key to keeping them healthy is proper feeding, proper culling. So if you start getting a genetic defect, you pull that out. Over time, it corrects itself. So, and I'm sure there would be people that would disagree with me, and I respect that, but the studies and research are there. You can take a bloodline of fish that I have here today.
Oh, excuse me one moment, Ed. Somebody's asking who you. Sorry about that. Skipper's Aquariums. This is Ed Moats. He has a big facility over on the East Coast. He does the Godiads, a lot of rare live bearers. Now Skipper enjoys the live bearers too, the rare live bearers.
Yeah.
You want to come back up here, Skipper? I'm going to bring you up on this. Put this back on here. You take and put the just in case you want to pop up and talk here. Make it a little bit easier.
Yeah, I'm sorry if I'm just like I said, when I'm on my phone, Jeff, I can't see the comments. So please,
No problem.
just stop me. It's not a problem because I don't want anyone thinking I don't want to sound obnoxious.
Oh no! And hello, Peplin. That's Brian. How you doing? If I missed anybody in the chat, I've been just enjoying a nice conversation. There's Peplin Creek Aquatics. If I missed anybody else's, I do apologize, but I'm looking. I think I got pretty much everybody so far. But Jeff Rowe, hello, Jeff Rowe. But I just dropped the link in the chat. If anybody would like to join us up here and talk about fish breeding and breeding for profit and stuff, go ahead and join us. Skipper is from Pennsylvania too.
Oh, cool. What part of Pennsylvania?
What part of Pennsylvania are you in, Tom? Skipper? I know you're near North Virginia, right? I'm not sure if he's still here, but might be. Hello, Savage Dave. I missed you there. Find out, because he really, you know what I can do also is I can always, Skipper's about 30 minutes from LJ.
Okay.
Oh, near me, yeah. Okay. She's got a great channel as well. I go checked her channel out. Really great stuff. LJ, if you ever want to join us on the live stream here, go ahead and do that. Yeah, Skipper says I'm in from Central PA. Is what he said. I'm Central PA is what I said. What Jay said. LJ said, yep. So that's where he's from. But Ed here, he has. Now, can you say what live bearers that you're working with right now, so he can hear that?
I'm sorry?
Could you mention the live bearers that you're working with currently so that Skipper could hear that?
Sure. So forgive me. I'll give you what I can remember because I have quite a few. So I specialize in the family Goodidae. However, I do other types of species too. Godiads, I have 2 locations of Cracodon audax. I have El Tobaso and I have Los Pinos. I have Cracodon lateralis. I have Xenotoca lion's eye, Xenotoca doadrioi. I have Xenotoca variata, Jesus Maria. I have Robustus, the bulldog Godiad. I have Trout Godiad. I have quite a few. Those are the ones I could just think off my mind. And I'm working to develop some of my bloodlines to grow the numbers for offer for next season. Some of them I have in small numbers right now. Then I also have some types of limias, but I'm phasing out limias altogether to make more room for my Godiads.
So with those species, and you have 100 tanks, are those mostly in all those tanks?
So what I did, so I'll just share what I'm doing this year for my. So like I said a few minutes ago, I was turning away a lot of customers last year for Cracodons. And I felt bad about it. And let's face it, I'm a business, so I'm losing money when I turn those people away. So what I'm doing now, I build a colony for a tank. So when I build a colony of Cracodons or any Godiads, I do 2 males to 4 to 6 females. And I'm doing 3 tanks for colonies. But from those colonies, when I'm growing up fry, there's 3 tanks for every drop. So what happens is when they drop, the babies are in, let's say, a 5-gallon for the first month. Then I move them to a 10. And then after they get so big to a 10, they go to a big grow out, which is generally a 30. So what I'm doing, so just to do one species, it's taking 8 tanks just to do one species for one particular colony.
Okay. That's good.
But I have the space to do that. I realize a lot of people don't. But the thing to remember is you want to make sure they're growing to their best potential. And I found that was what was working for me. And so because Goody's only drop maybe twice, 2 or 3 times out of a season, and they're only dropping a few. And that's another thing. People think they're like guppies, that 30, 40. No, they only drop a few at a time. So by doing the more numbers of females, I'm getting more fry available over the season. So that's kind of how I set the system up.
Okay. That's good. Yeah, you get good production, good growth rate that way, and you know.
Well, that's what it is with angelfish. So when I see a lot of angelfish, a lot of people, they're a cichlid. We know how many babies they can have. If you're not culling properly and you're not giving them the room to grow, that's where you start getting the deformed fins and the bent dorsals and stuff like that. So you need to decide, do I want a quality or do I want quantity? So when I see those bent fins and stuff, that tells me when that little one was young, it wasn't getting either the proper food it needed or it didn't have enough space to grow. So you have to take that into account. So if you're going to work with angels or something that has that long flowing finnage, keep that in mind.
Now, when you're culling, see if you've got a lot of angelfish and you're culling them out. Now, what do you do? Do you just put them in another, like a cull tank, or do you euthanize them, or what do you do? Do you feed them to other fish?
So here's what it is. Some people use them in a cull tank. Some people use them as food. Some euthanize. I'll tell you what I do here. So I have a centipoma, and she's about going on close to 8 inches long. I personally feel if I need to cull a fish, feeding it to her, because it is so quick, the fish does not feel pain. It's just boom, they're gone.
Yeah.
I find that to be the most humane way. And I can appreciate some people would feel that isn't. But I find that it's so quick and it serves the purpose, and my fish are getting quality food. I don't do it a lot, but when I have something, I'm pretty fortunate with a lot of mine. But I had a bloodline of fish that I had to cull for the first year and a half that I was working with them. I was culling 75% of them till I finally worked out the defect, and now this last year I'm getting quality drops from that strain. But when I was doing that, I found it was just easier to feed them to the centipoma because it was so quick, and in my eyes it was the most humane. But the thing to remember, someone who's breeding for quality, you're going to cull a great deal of fish. So if you're getting 300 fish, I'll use Greg as an example. When we were talking, sometimes with some of Greg's bloodline, he'll cull 75% of what he has. He'll keep some maybe as to keep for cull if someone wants a cull. But a lot of those fish, he whatever he does, he'll give them to a shop if they're not in poor condition. But if they don't meet his standards, so he will cull up to 75%. So that's what you need to say. Do I want to do quality or quantity, and know what to look for? So.
Yeah. Yep. I tend to quality, but if I have some fish that I call, the special fish,
right.
Ones that come out and they're healthy enough, and I'm not one to. I couldn't really euthanize unless something's suffering real super bad, terribly bad. Yeah, but if it's coming along and it's, I like it with my cichlids. If one gets beat the crap out of, and people are like, "Oh, that poor thing is suffering," but I've had fish in that condition, and they come back. They regrow their fins. They regrow their, they come back. I give them a chance.
I'm not culling fish unless there's something I really need to consider. It's not like, oh, there's something wrong. No, but like when an animal is suffering, and I have found for me the most humane way, because I do a lot of small fish. That's how I do it, because I find, in my opinion, that's the most humane way. But if an animal's not suffering, fish are pretty strong. They can recover from a lot of things. I've seen fish that I thought they're going to be dead within 2 hours, and you come back a little while later and they're swimming, and then in a month later they fully recovered. So yeah, you have to use it at your discretion. So.
And Christine is here from Sweet Acre Koi's. Hello, Christine. And Craig is here. Hello, Craig. We're talking about breeding fish today. We have Ed Motes with us and having a great conversation. I was going to ask now, because I was thinking that if we're talking about the culling of the fish, I think what I would do is probably you have a terrapin, right? A terrapin turtle? Is that what you said you have?
To me, I have a centipoma. It's a big fish. A tenopoma.
Oh, the tenopoma.
Their common name is a leaf fish, but they're a tenopoma, and she's about 8 going on 8 inches long.
Oh, wow.
She's a big girl. I don't have too many monster fish, but I had a friend that was moving who asked me to take her, and I promised I would never get rid of her. She's about 8 inches long, and like I said, in my opinion, and I realize people may disagree, and I respect that, I find that's the most humane way for me to euthanize a fish that's suffering, because it's so quick. It's like she grabs them, it's a blink of an eye. If you blink, you miss. And I just
also, it's a healthy. I mean, the fish doesn't go to waste. It goes into feeding another fish. Just like natural.
And like I said, I'm only culling fish that are suffering or have such a severe. Sometimes a fish will drop a fish with a crooked spine. It happens, or something like that. Or I'm sure what everyone knows is a belly slider.
Yeah.
When there's defects like that I feel could be to the detriment of the well-being of the fish, or that the fish is suffering, that's when I call. I just don't call fish to call fish. I don't believe in that. I believe in the humane treatment, and if there's something that I feel they're suffering, I will do that. And that's just what there are other ways you can euthanize, but I find that to be the quick and simple way that the animal is not suffering at all.
I think I'm the same. I think the same as you about that. I got like the Malawi eye biters and stuff. They're like a predatory fish, and I throw something in there that if it's, like I've had, I might even have a live bear or something. Like I said, when I had that issue, if a fish it was alive and then you find it's still just barely alive, it's going to die. I'll talk to it. I'll just put it in there and it's gone like that. So
I actually have a species of goodyead that's a predator. Bulldog. The bulldog goodyead is a predator. They will eat small fish.
Wow.
Yeah, they can get up. They get up to about 6 or 7 inches. They're the biggest goodyead.
And the Belsonics, you still have those, don't you?
The Balanosauks, yeah. So, yeah, they're growing. They're slowly growing. I still have all 25 that she dropped, and everyone's like, "Oh, what are they eating?" I'm very fortunate. They're literally eating anything I throw in the tank.
Oh, that's great.
So a lot of people feel, "Oh, they have to eat live food all the time." So these young are eating flake. They're eating frozen. They're eating freeze-dried. Anything I put in the tank, they're eating. That may change at some time, but for right now, they're doing great for me. So, yeah, I'm going to keep some of those, and I'm going to build those lines, and I'm going to offer them in the near future. So,
for the folks in the chat that don't know what that is, can you explain what they are?
So a Balanosauks is called. If you Google, Balanosauks or live-bearing pike fish. They're really cool fish. They almost look like a little gar. They can get fairly big. I have a female here that's about 5 inches. They can get a little bigger. The males get a little smaller, but they have their babies live. They're live-bearing fish, and they're really cool. They're a larger type, basically, of top minnow. The best way to explain it is it would almost be like a cross. Well, here, I'm just going to do this.
Okay.
She's right beside me. Why don't I just show everyone?
Oh, great.
Hold
Check these out, guys. This is a live-bearing fish. It's really cool. I mean, all live bears are cool, but this is something very different that
Hold on. I might get logged out. If I do, I'll log back in.
Okay. See, go to settings, and then to camera, and then back camera.
Here we go. Sorry, folks, I'm still a newbie to all this.
No problem, Ed. You take your time. We'll
It's
get
not-
there.
Hold on. It's not letting me.
Oh, it's not letting you. Okay.
It's not letting. Well, I've got a front camera, but it's not. The box isn't dropping down.
Oh, it doesn't have a drop down.
Hold on, let me try this.
Okay.
Here we go.
All right.
There she is.
It's like a pike live bearer.
Yeah, so she's about 5-6 inches long right now. So there's an interesting story with her. Back in March, I ordered a breeding pair. I got her in April, but there was only one thing. There was no male with her. So I called the person. I'm like, I was supposed to get a breeding pair. They made it right, so it was all good. But you know, they just refunded my money. They didn't have any others available. So the interesting thing is, what a lot of people don't know is these fish can hold sperm. So last month she dropped 25 young ones. The gestation period is only 60 days. So she essentially fertilized herself.
Yeah, I've had mollies do that before too. They'll hold it. And,
Yeah, there's a lot of live bearers that will do stuff like that. Now, goodeids are a different story. When a goodeiid needs to have contact for every fertilization, they don't hold sperm.
Yeah.
And of course, she's going to hide in the back when I bring the camera. She's a little shy, but she's coming to the point where she takes food right out of my hand now.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah, they are cool. But can I tell you something? They eat a lot. They eat a lot. So the babies I'm feeding 5 times a day.
Okay.
And they're taking, give me a second.
They're eating prepared foods, aren't they?
Yeah, so I do frozen, freeze-dried. I have pounds of freeze-dried Daphne and bloodworms shipped to me. So yeah, I buy by the pounds. So I'm buying 10 pounds at a time.
We have a question for you, Ed. Jeff Rowe is asking, do the fry do well in there with her, with the mother?
She didn't bother them, but I was fortunate enough to find them shortly after she dropped them. She didn't seem to be bothering them, but these fish have a very high prey drive, so I removed them quickly. So the first few days, I put them in a 5-gallon so that I could target feed them. And then I moved them, and just a few weeks ago, I moved them into a 20. And they're slow. They're growing, but they're slow growing. But I've been very fortunate. Everything I'm feeding them they're eating, and that could change because I've had people say that theirs will only take live. Literally everything I'm feeding them, I can put anything in, and they're eating it. But a lot of the stuff that I feed, I prepare myself. So what like my big girl. So like I'm doing large freeze-dried krill. What I also do is I'll go to Walmart and buy small size shrimp we would eat and thaw that and feed that. And that's cheaper than going to a pet store and buying frozen food because that same food that you get, which is basically the same thing, you would pay 3 times more for. And then I'm doing a lot of other prepared foods for them. But I was fortunate with her, the adult, because when I got them.
I see another question here. After grow out, would it be possible to pair her with one of her babies? Oh, I'm sure they probably breed. I mean, male and female would probably do that.
So but at the same time too, I have friends that say theirs will only take live. So I consider myself the exception and blessed that I can work with them and they're not that finicky with me. So.
Yes, that now the freeze dried that is appealing to me because you can buy a prepared freeze dried food, and if they're taking that, I mean that's a fairly good quality food too. I mean,
Yeah. So basically, what I do first I feed a lot of live, then I'll feed frozen. Under that, I'll feed freeze dried. I feed flake minimal, and the reason why flake, when it gets into the water, the vitamins disperse out within literally the first few minutes. So if they're not immediately grabbing that food, that mineral dissipates out into the water. So, that's why if you're feeding pellets, that's better than flake because it's holding on to the nutrients in that pellet longer. But for the most part, I feed live is my first choice, frozen second, and then I go with the freeze dried. And there are days where I'm in a hurry that I will feed flake. And the Goodeids need a lot of spirulina, so they're getting that to compensate with, especially the Scipia. All the Scipia Goodeids are herbivores. And if they're getting too much protein in their diet, they're at risk. I have seen them suffer to a situation similar to Malawi bloat. You know how the Malawians need a lot of vegetable. Those Scipia show the same situation, so you have to do a lot of vegetable with them.
yeah, they do. I feed most of my Africa, like the spirulina flakes from Ken's Fish.
Mm-hmm.
But I also feed them the regular tropical flake as well, and then pellets. I got my cichlids love this stuff, the Hikari sinking Excel.
So I'm going to tell you something. I've been in this hobby so long. I remember when those pellets came out.
Yep. Oh yeah. Well, this is one of their newer products. This has been out just for a few years. This one right here. But the like the cichlid gold and stuff, that was back when I was going. As soon as I could recognize it as a very young boy.
Yeah.
I've seen that cichlid gold, and the package really hasn't changed much over the years either.
Yeah, it's a good product, and that's the thing. So that's the thing to remember is that's another that ties into breeding for profit. You get out what you put in. So,
and this has got a little more vegetable than most of the stuff. So vegetarian African cichlids.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I haven't forgotten. I need to send you a sample of my food for you to try, my omnivore diet, for you to try.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah. So what it is, I actually developed the recipe, believe it or not, and I have it cooked for me a couple times a year.
Oh.
So what I do, it's all vegetables and things, and then there's quality protein fish in there, and then it's all vegetables. It's the omnivore diet, and I also infuse garlic into it. The only filler that's in it is what's required to bind it. So the first 6 to 8 ingredients are all foods that we vegetables and things like that. And I've been feeding it here. I started fiddling around with recipes and having stuff cooked. And when I was having it cooked, I would have to, in order for them to cook it for me, I'd have to do a few 100 pounds. So when I'm getting a few 100 pounds of flake shipped to me, but I tested out a few recipes, and this one for the omnivores I really like. And that's the thing to remember. If you're breeding fish in volume, open yourself accounts where you can get wholesale accounts where you can buy in bulk, because that's where you're going to save the most money. Because if I were to buy my foods at regular, if I didn't have my wholesale account where I can buy wholesale, I would be spending more money than I'd be making. Because let's figure how much fish food costs in a store, and I get it. They need, that's their. But when you're breeding in large volume, you need to do both.
Do you feed much baby brine shrimp in your fish room?
Baby brine, I do. I'm just going to flip and show you like this. Can you see what I have over there?
Yes.
Okay, I don't have the lines on right now so everyone can hear me. So I feed baby brine shrimp twice a day. So those are commercial cones that I use, and I go through 2 of them a day. So I go through a can of brine shrimp every 6 weeks.
Wow. Okay. That's a lot of brine shrimp.
It is. So all of the fish in the fish room get a tiny squirt, like the Scyphias. Like I said, Scyphias are herbivores. I give them a little squirt of it daily. The crocodons get it daily. The babies get brine shrimp 3-4 times a day, in between what other foods I give them. So you figure every 6 weeks I'm spending $50 to $60 on brine shrimp.
What I'm doing right now is I have just the one hatchery, so I will do an amount. I'll feed it all off one day, and then it's every other day that they get the brine.
Yeah, sure.
So I get I don't get large quantities of it. I get like a 30-gram package of baby brine shrimp cysts, and it lasts me probably 4 months, 5 months.
Well, here's something I do too, is I don't use aquarium salt. I use pure sodium rock salt. I get the 20-pound bags for $5, and that you can use that to hatch brine shrimp. And that's a trick I learned a long time ago to save money. Because what do people pay for aquarium salt? It's the same thing. It's the exact same thing. But it's the natural pure sodium. It doesn't have all the other chemicals in it. And I go through 60 pounds of salt in a year.
Wow. I just get the big canisters of Morton salt. It's pretty cheap, $1 something. And I put like 2 tablespoons of that in the blender, and then I bubble it till it's pretty much dissolved, and I'll add the brine shrimp to it, and air driven and whatnot.
Yeah. Oh, so you have the brine blender? Is that what you have?
Yeah, I bought the Zest. Everybody's saying, "Oh, it's great. It works good."
I was wondering how they work. I was curious.
It works really well. Let me grab it here. I'll show it to you real quick. I got it right over here. I'll show it to you. I don't have it torn. I have the actual top with the air is going continuously, so I got it just in one of my aquariums. When I'm not making, I have to make a new batch today. But it's right here, and it has. Here's where you release it to the little nozzle. So if you have your little container, you can just release the pressure, and all the brine shrimp will be down here. I put like a little light, and it seems to draw them down a bit more. Now open it up, and I know you're supposed to. I don't have a nice strainer for them, so I will take the brine, and it has a little bit of salt in it. But I'll just do a little squirt in each tank, and I find that I do that, then I'll do a partial water change. It kind of, I know it's not the great thing to do, but I need to get an actual strainer so I can just maybe rinse them off a little bit and then add them to the tank.
With my Goodyears, I rinse, especially because with the high salt concentration I do. If I told you how I hatch brine shrimp, you won't believe it. I have people that come here, they're like, "You're hatching brine shrimp." I'm like, "Yeah." So I keep my fish room at 73 degrees. I heat the room, and then that keeps my water at about anywhere between 72 and 71, which is perfect for Goodyears. When I set up brine shrimp, I set them up. They're hatched at room temperature, which is 73. I don't use any light source at all. When I collect them, I take the air stone out. I let them settle for 15 minutes, and then I just pour into the cup and strain through a brine shrimp net. That's all I do.
Oh, okay. LJ, we have a coffee mesh strainer.
Yeah. So I have some brine shrimp nets. I've tried the brine shrimp strainers, and the brine shrimp nets just seem to work best for me. So,
I've got a pair of them. I got one that's a little bit bigger so that it'll keep the shell or and then the brine shrimp will go through that into a finer, and that will hold them.
Right.
But I was finding that it seemed like the first net that had the bigger was holding pretty much everything, and nothing was really making its way through down to the other net.
Right.
So I'm not sure if it was just that net was too tight as well, or if they just didn't calibrate it right.
I've tried a couple nets, and I've got one, and you know how you have something that you love that you just can't let go of? I have a brine shrimp net. I can't tell you how old it is, but it works, and I've tried new nets since then, and I don't like them. So, you know.
Yep, that's right. You got something that works. I mean,
yeah, if it were, yeah.
That's absolutely right. I mean, you can buy all kinds of newfangled things that if you're used to one thing and it works good, it's best to keep it.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Sometimes some of the products that they had out when we were kids for aquariums are so much better than the stuff they have out today.
Well, that's good. Craig says my angelfish fry still good. Excellent.
Good.
Strainer.
I'm jealous.
LJ Shrimp says strainer came with my Keurig. I have a Keurig.
Yeah.
I have to try that. But like I said, I haven't had any bad repercussions doing it the way I do it. I'll just take the pipette and just a little squirt in each tank. And I think between that and my weekly water change, it kind of mitigates it. I don't think too much salt will accumulate. And what plants I do have are still doing really well, and I know that they're not supposed to with salt in the water. So apparently, it's not too much.
It can't be that high of a concentration of salt then. So. But the thing to remember with salt, it helps with the respiratory system of the fish, and it also helps with their slime layer, and that's their level of defense. So, you know, a little bit of extra salt, as long as it's not affecting them, you know, where it's putting them in stress, will only help. So.
Craig says I use water, eggs, and brine. Wow. You don't separate. I know that if I pour, sometimes what I've been doing right now, because I don't separate them either, but when I get down to the bottom of it, I'll take the actual pitcher with a little bit left in it. It's got most of the fire mouse eat everything that I put in there. They'll eat the shell, everything, that nothing goes to waste. So they're kind of like they eat it. I don't have to worry about cleaning it down the drain or anything, but they.
Right.
Oh, that's right. And he says, I changed too much water to have any dramas. Yep. That man works so hard, Ed, that makes me sweat. I don't know if you've ever seen Craig's channel yet, but when he's working in this fish room, he's like a lightning bolt, back and forth and back and forth.
You know what? I used to be that way, but I'll tell you now, I break my fish room down in half. I do about 20 tanks a day. Yeah, so I can appreciate it when someone can zip through things.
Oh, yeah. I used to. If I had as many tanks right now as I did when I was younger, I could do it. But now, like I say, I just go around, and it might take me all day to get all the tanks done, but I just kind of mosey my way through it. You know, I don't really have a lot.
I got a question for you.
Okay.
So you're going to be putting tanks. Any idea what you're going to be putting in?
I got a few ideas.
Okay.
I want to breed peacock gudgeons.
Yeah.
That's a species I've been studying for a long time, and I've watched a lot of videos on it, how to breed them. And I think they're just difficult enough that most people won't really attempt it too much. But for people who are into fish breeding and stuff, I mean, I look at it and I'm like, yeah, I can do that. Basically, you're taking them out like the little PVC pipe where they breed in it. Once they start wiggling, you take it away. I know it's mean to the male because he really get kind of depressed once you take him away from him. But you put them in a separate tank and put an air stone at one end to keep the water flow.
Yeah.
And people have a lot of good success when they hatch. I think they can take. If I remember right, they can take baby brine as soon as they're free swimming after they've eaten all of their.
I believe in a few days they are big enough to take baby brine. I believe so.
Yeah, but that's one species. And after seeing all of Greg's angelfish, I've never had an angelfish yet. In the 50 years, it's been 50 years in August since I've been in the hobby.
Wait, you've never, not even had one as a pet?
No. And I never even had a Corridora until about 3 weeks ago, when my first Corridora came in here. I was always a monster, not a monster fish keeper, but a large, aggressive cichlid keeper. I had like
You like what you like, yeah, sure.
Yeah. Back then, it was the thing. It was you have your Jaguars, you got your Jack Dempseys, you got your Red Devils. Of course, convicts and firemouths. They were pretty much some of the first ones I've ever had. And then you just graduate on up. Texas cichlids, black belt, viejas, all that kind of stuff. That kept me going for up until the mid '90s. And I had them before me and my wife got married. We got married in '93, and I had them up through. And then when we got married, we got a big tank, and I brought my Red Devils. And then after that, a few years later, I started tapering down into, I still had my convicts. They're not the same convicts, but I have convicts and firemouths that I like. Those are my fish, just for me. I mean, I'm not trying to sell them. I give them away to friends who want them. Like, you'll see from time to time, as you go on, you'll see people saying hello to Melvin. He's the one that likes the firemouths real well, so I gave him some, and I'm sending him some more. He's in Pennsylvania as well. He's in the Pittsburgh area.
Oh, okay, I may know them.
Yep. And so, but now I'm at the point now where I'm enjoying some killifish. I'm enjoying real well, and I just put this mop back in. And if I was to take that out and look at it, I probably have some eggs on it. But what I'm thinking about doing is let me see if I can show you this here. This is on my camera is on a string here that goes, let's see here. I got a breeder net here. I'm thinking about taking the mop out and putting it right in here because these are the same water parameters in both these tanks.
Okay, yeah, sure.
So I'm thinking about taking that and putting it in here. I'm going to check for eggs first. I'm going to check for eggs first, and then if there are any, I'm going to put them in there and see what happens. I mean, but those gold Australias they're just beautiful. Killifish. I'm not sure if have I shown you these or not. I'm not sure if I can. They're in this tank over here. They're hiding right now. As soon as I did this, as soon as I went to the tank, they're actually. You know what I can. Yeah. What I'm going to do is on our next one, I'm going to have it set up where I have my phone going, but I don't have it here right now, and I can actually log in with that and take you around and show you some of the stuff I have. But right now, I have those killifish, and I did have a pair. So some of the losses I took when I moved that rack, I lost a pair of Fundula Panchex Gardneri. Oh, they were beautiful. The male was just really super count, and they would lay eggs constantly on that mop. And I didn't have a tank, or I probably could have done it in a 5-gallon bucket or so. I suppose, but I don't know. I was waiting for an aquarium so I can actually see them better and hear them better. So, but I'm interested in that kind of fish, and they're something that they might be a little bit too aggressive for community tanks, but they're not bad really. I mean, they'll go after real small fish. Like I got
they can get a little nippy, but I don't find them. I find them about just as equally as aggressive as some of the bigger sized tetras. The white skirt or the black skirt. I find their temperament to be similar to that.
Yeah, they're not too bad really. They'll go after like the smaller antlers and stuff. They'll just kind of lunge at them a little bit, but any fish will do that.
Right.
Let's see here. Let's catch up with the chat here for just a moment. Vacant can believe I found my first tank. He found his very first tank picture. Wow,
oh, that's cool.
I wish I had some pictures of my fish. Oh, they were just.
I can remember being 5 years old, and we would go to the local pet shop here in Uniontown, and I can remember getting swordtails, and as I got older, I said to Mom, "Were they really that big?" We were getting swordtails that were almost 5 inches long at the time.
Oh,
And
I know Rusty
because
Russell has.
all the way they're being bred now, they're just not to that size. I can distinctly remember as a kid having a red brick sword. Maybe it was a red wag. I'm not exaggerating. It looked enormous to me, but when I confirmed with my mother as I got older, he was about 4.5 inches long.
Mm-hmm. Do you know Rusty Wessel?
I do know Rusty, yeah.
He has some wild type green sword. They're probably a good 4 to 5 inches.
Yeah, he brought that line in himself. I have some of that line. It hasn't done much for me, and I think a lot of it is the parameters I'm having here. I added heat, and I'm going to see if adding heat, because that is one thing. Swordtails need a little bit warmer water, so that's one of the few tanks I have here where I have heat. But yeah, Rusty brought those, introduced those fish in himself from one of his when he was out in the field. He collected those himself.
Yes. He's been with his cichlids and things. He's been a big influencer on me. But we had a question here from Jeffro. He says, "Do breeders, fish keepers, influencing what trends are next and how long they last?" Well, I think the breeders. I mean, if you have breeders in your advertising and you got some cool fish, then the fish keepers see them, and then they become a hot thing, and then I think they get them, and then they probably breed them out. I'm not sure how long the trends last, really. You can last, I mean, African cichlids went for how many years?
Yeah. Shrimp's been a trend for a long time. And Jeffro, I don't know if you heard me say a little while ago, a year or 2 years ago, Corey from Aquarium Co-op did a video about trout goodiots, and I was literally getting inundated day in day out for trout goodiots. And that lasted for a little while. I still get a little bit of bite here and there. A lot of it is you have people, I hate to say this word because it drives me nuts, that are influencers, but there's truth, and they can start trends within the hobby. I'm like you, Jeff. I like to do things that are challenging and different. I like to do what other people don't. But yeah, absolutely, there's trends. Endlers. I didn't realize how popular. I mean, I knew they were popular, but I just didn't know how popular endlers were. But yeah, there's people influence trends, and if you're smart when you're breeding, you pay attention to those trends.
Oh yeah.
But yeah,
I like. I only have one type of blue endler right now. It's the blue star endler. It's not a wild type, but it's a nice little strain that.
Yeah, they are. They have some nice color to them. Yeah.
Yes. Any fish that Joey starts quickly, the LFS runs out of them. Also, Joey from up in Canada, DIY. Yeah, he's pretty much an influencer, I think. I mean, I haven't watched his in a while, but I watched a lot of his old stuff when he first started out. He did a lot of interesting videos. Yep, DIY, she says. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's definitely an influencer.
Yeah.
I find Corey really is also.
Oh yeah, and that his friend Dean, who does the breeding, he does some really great stuff. And he said the other day, he says, regardless of how many years they've been popular, he said the angelfish are still his best moneymakers.
Yep.
He says that's what funded his entire fish room. He paid for that with angelfish.
Yeah.
And I know that earlier Greg from 3G, he has some absolutely. In fact, it was on last night's live stream. If you want to watch it over, scroll almost to the end of it, so you don't have to watch all the other. I mean, that was it was late at night. If you scroll near the end, you can watch his tour of his stuff and see what he. They're beautiful. Absolutely.
Last night.
It was last night. Yep, and that was called the Late Owl.
Okay, I'll look. Absolutely, and it's Craig.
No, his name is Greg.
Greg, I'm sorry.
But you'll see that his name on YouTube is 3G. Okay. But his name is Greg, and he breeds angelfish, and there's so many beautiful fish. And we were watching right now. June was on there watching, and so was I think Rob was on there for a little bit near the end. He fell asleep, but he's got beautiful angels. He's got some black ones that are they're just as black as my mollies, jet black, but they have a red eye ring. And they are, I seen them and I just fell in love with me. I seen them, I'm like, oh, I got to get some of those.
Well, you know what? Can I be honest? And I think I've told you this, but I'll come clean to everyone. I don't watch a lot of YouTube.
Oh, he doesn't. He just came on as I was doing a live stream. And he comes in the chat, and I drop the link, and he does these every so often. He'll come in. When I do that, it's like a treat, every time he comes in because his stuff is just so on top of it. It's so good.
Yeah. So there's a couple people I follow, and how I found out about you is through Ed, and because he was getting good hits from. He says, "Oh, you should watch my stream." And I watched this, and I'm not blowing smoke. I truly mean this. This stream is different from a lot of that I've seen. Everyone's very friendly, and it's a different type of feeling doing this one. So I'm this is what the third time I've streamed with you now in a week.
Yep.
More to come. Stuff like this, but I'm getting more and more comfortable with it. But I've had my YouTube channel for over a year, and you saw I don't really do that much with it. I enjoy watching a few people, but I'm starting to look at more people because we can all learn from each other. And I don't care. I've had someone say, "Oh, I just started my channel. Don't be crude." But I watched their channel today, and there's a little trick they do. I'm like, I'm going to start doing that. So we all learn from each other. But I'm starting to get out of my uncomfort zone with YouTube. And
I tell you, that's what it takes. It takes you get through a certain barrier. Like with me, when I started this live stream, I was so. I'm always a little bit high strung, no matter what. But I was so nervous in the beginning that I would get so distraught if I put myself out of my live stream. I couldn't find my way back in because I didn't know how, and I would really bother me.
That's what's going on with me right now. So me, it's just going to take time getting used to it.
Yeah, you just got to realize that it's not the end of everything. It's just you're learning. You can just say that, oh, that happened. I'm going to get back in somehow, and if I can, I'll start a new one.
Yeah,
that's all you got to do. And as now, you get to the point where you get more comfortable. I find myself right now, I'm addicted to fish and aquariums, but I find myself now, I'm addicted to seeing my friends and talking to people in the chat. I find myself live streaming more. Late at night when I'm sitting down here in the fish room, I'm just enjoying myself. Yeah, but I'm thinking that, well, why not see what everybody else is up to, and I'll go live. And it always turns out to be a lot of fun. Let's see what everybody's saying here. How do rare fish that isn't really a market for? Well, it's for people who want to breed rare and endangered fish, and they keep them. And there's a bit of altruism in it. You want to keep the strain alive. You want to make sure keep the species alive. I just cruise along naked. What? No one is there. Oh, great. I can teach you. LOL. Yep. Jeff Rowe. You go on Jeff's auction and see what someone will pay. Yep. It was a really great auction too. For that first one, I tell you what, I couldn't be any happier than that. I think as well as that went for our very first one, it's only going to get better from there.
Yep. I agree.
Yep. Good prices. Priceless. Yep. But
so you know what? If you don't mind, I'll kind of chip in on that. I know you answered, but the reason I got into critically endangered fish is not only do I provide hobbyists, but I also work with the CARES program. There's a lot of programs out there, the Goodyear Working Group and all that. And what we are doing, believe it or not, some of these species have been reintroduced back into the wild. So not only are you providing fish for the hobby, essentially, like my fish room right now, the goal is to become a genetic bank for some of these fish that are either threatened or critically endangered. And the type of, I hate to say clientele, but it is, I cater to a lot of really, really, what's the geeky hobbyists and stuff like that. So they're, believe it or not, I hate to say there's a market for it because I don't like to treat them like a commodity, but know where you can move them. So someone who just wants a fish tank isn't going to appreciate the fish, but someone who's interested in the environment, making a difference, and something like that in our environment and keeping a genetic, those are the things. I've also provided fish to zoos, aquariums, and stuff like that. So there is all of that, but it's a little different than working with basic. I hate to say basic, but how do I say it? Normal aquarium fish that you would see in a pet store. So that's the thing. It's rewarding, but understand if you do go into it, it is a different type of, for lack of a better term, market. But it's worked for me, and it's become my niche. So
you know what I was surprised about last night?
What was that?
The auction is when I went to show my limnias. I mean, to me, they're absolutely beautiful. They got like nice green sheen to them, the stripes going through them, live bearer, easy to breed. And I had, what was it, 6 + 2 on those, so it was 8 of them. Probably more too by the time you scoop. I'm not going to reach in and try and take out little, if baby gets in there or something, it's going to go with it.
Right.
I put my fish not in one bag, though. I try to put, if they're really small, I might put them in one breather bag. Really small, but most of the fish go in their own bag. But I was really amazed at it. I put them up for $10 at starting bid, and I thought they were going to snap up right like that, because that's most of the time you see those for sale. They usually go for about $5 a piece, or maybe a little more. And I thought, wow, this is going to be like a no-brainer. I put those up, and it's like they didn't do anything. But anyways, that was not a rant or anything, but it really surprised me about that, because I thought for sure.
No, you know what? Can I be honest, since you mentioned that?
Yeah.
For me, and I hope everyone hears, I don't mean this disrespectfully, and I don't want anyone thinking I'm coming across the wrong way. I don't really work a lot with a lot of auctions, because from my websites, the people that come to my website know what I have and know what's there. I have a particular fish that I get a certain, I don't want to sound obnoxious. So I have a particular type of fish that I get a considerable amount of money for. From my website, from my posts on Get Gills and stuff. But if I were to get them in an auction, I won't put them in an auction, because why? If I get a certain amount of money for them, why would I put them in an auction? And I say this respectfully, where some people may not know what they are and they want to give me $10. I'm a business. Now there's stuff that I will like. So like the goodies I did yesterday, those are nice goodies. They're good starters for someone. But
we froze up a little bit. Let's see here. Can you guys hear?
Money. The goal yesterday was to share some of my bloodlines, and that's what I did, and I was happy to do that. But like there are some fish I have that I won't put in auctions, because it's
Johanna.
I have, and I hope this doesn't come across as being rude or obnoxious. I have a business, so I have to make sure that I'm at least recouping my expenses. So there's certain fish that I don't put in auctions, but I had a blast yesterday, and I'm glad that someone's going to get some of my bloodline. That's the goal, is to share the bloodline. So I was happy to do that. But another one this month, at the end of the month, if you're interested. So we can talk about it if you'd like to be in again. Okay, sure. Yeah.
That's going to be after the 25th.
I'm going to tell you something. With this new job that I'm starting next week, I'm not sure what my schedule is going to be like. I really would like to do a stream with you and Kurt, but we'll have to be a little creative, because I'm going to have office hours now.
Yeah. Yes. I'm the same way. I don't like putting Caridina sulawesi shrimp in auctions. People may not know how to care for them. Yeah, they do have special needs. I was thinking about I've been studying the sulawesi and getting the nice hard high pH water. I think they probably do well with in like my Tanganyikan conditions almost, and just add a little bit of. They have the 9.5 mineral that you can add to it.
Yeah.
But I know of a guy down in Texas that has the Sulawesi cardinal shrimp, and he uses his tap water with the hose from outside. He doesn't change the temperature on it. The tank is heated, but when he does his water change, he does it. And these shrimp are so hardy that he breeds them, and he was selling them for $10 a piece, which was pretty cheap for that type of shrimp. And he sold out of them, so I'm thinking that's probably what the thing is. 8.5 mineral.
Yeah.
Yep, 84 degrees.
That's a popular shrimp right now.
Yeah, I love those. They got the white legs. They're really cool looking. They got longer antenna. Yeah, usually 20, but this is on eBay, and he had them for $10 each. And when I see something like that, I get skeptical. So I go and I look at all the reviews on it, and he had really high reviews, like 4.9. And there was only a couple, I only got 7 shrimp instead of 8. Some kind of complaint like that. So he would basically refund them the price of one shrimp that came up short. But there was nothing like, oh, I got all my shrimp in there, Dad, and nothing like that.
I've tried eBay and all that. Someone just mentioned correct me if I'm wrong, did I hear that someone mentioned that they don't do auctions too because they want people to understand what's required to take care of the fish?
Yeah, that's only Oscar's right there. She says the importance is what scares her.
Yeah, so I just recently did something. So I was on a particular marketplace with my fish. I was doing very well with it. I just took down my stuff from that marketplace on Friday. There was a reason why. I want to have a relationship with the people that have my fish, whether it's an email, whether it's a phone call. I give every person that has my fish, I give my business phone number to. I tell everyone, I would rather, if you have a question, you call me, email me. I want you to be prepared to take care of these fish. I want you to be successful. In the marketplace I was working with, and I'm not bashing that, but people were just clicking and purchasing fish, and they weren't communicating with me, and I didn't feel comfortable with that.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was doing very well on that marketplace. But for me, I want to make sure people have fish that they can enjoy and raise successfully. So it's not me making money. It's me making sure that I can provide fish to people that are going to be happy with and thrive. So I've totally changed. So, and I'm not lying to you. That website I made the most money on. But now I'm only doing fish through my website and on Aquatic. That's all I'm doing now. I want to have that communication.
There's a question. Oops, sorry. There's a question for you. I don't want to because chat's moving pretty quick, so I had to stop it for a second here. Do you ever work with any schools? I was surprised to learn local college breeding fish and growing aquatic plants. Do you ever do any information or go to teach the information about, in the CARES program with the fish that you're keeping alive and breeding and?
Yeah, so I am one of the speakers for the CARES program, so I'm listed on their website. I'm going to be totally honest. I haven't done a talk in a few years. I'm working on a new talk that I'm working on. It's a proper mitigation in a CARES species. So I do that stuff. I'm a big advocate for the program, and I enjoy helping people with it. So yeah, that's part of what I do too. It is educating, and up until recently, I was one of the chairs of the CARES program. I was the chair for club members. So clubs that become members, I would help get them set up with everything they needed, and I would mentor their people working their program. It got to a point where I was doing so much between work, my fish room and stuff, that I had to let something go. But I'm still listed as a speaker in the CARES program. So yes, I do that. But I'm working on some new programs now because the ones I've been doing for a while, and I'm ready for something new. You speak about something for so long, it gets mundane.
Yeah.
The one I'm really focusing on is proper mitigation in care species, and that's basically where you're keeping the collection data and stuff like that. I think I talked about that briefly. So when you have 90% of the fish that are in my fish room have the collection data. That's the point where they were collected, the year they were collected, who collected them, things like that.
We have Bunny Viper has joined us. Hello, Bunny.
Hey.
How are you, honey? Good to see you.
So, and that's basically what that mitigation will be. So.
Yes. LJ says, Ed helped me with a lot of my fish, especially when I had killed, what's that? Baddest? Babies. Killie babies. Yes.
Yeah. I said it and I mean it. And it's not me trying to promote myself. I enjoy speaking, helping people. I enjoy, like, I tell people, hey.
I think you froze up. I don't know if you can hear me or not, but you're froze at the moment. And how is Bunny doing today?
I may not have the solution, but I'll try my best to help you.
Yes. Yes, indeed. Well, it's 6 o'clock right now. I really, I gotta probably call it at this point for this.
It's something to eat too, so yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go up and cook dinner for my wife, and then I'll probably be going live later tonight, possibly. I tend to do that after the Wednesday one. I'm like, I want to go up and go live again. So you might see me pop up later tonight. So, okay. So good to see everybody. Bunny, it's always so good to see you, dear, and everybody else. And Ed, thank you so very much, my friend. That was a very nice conversation, and we in a bit. Oh, also earlier we were talking. I'm not sure if you heard that portion when I was talking with Skipper. We have a solution now that I should have paid a little closer attention to. That when we had a little bit of a tip where somebody bid after the bell rang.
Yeah.
What he does is that after the 3 minutes is up, he'll say going once, and then like 15-second intervals, going twice, and then going. That way, it'll mitigate any lag. And then when it's sold, it's sold. And somebody pops the number up after that, I'm sorry, but that's no good.
Yeah, I like that idea too.
Yep. So we're going to do that in the end of the month when we do the next one.
It's a learning process. You'll learn new things each time.
That's a good thing to learn, though. When I heard that, I was like, wow, that would really have. It wasn't that huge of a deal because the bell rang for me, and I was like, well, that's the rule, and I put it. Like we had the gentleman who won the bid. Now, if I would have said, well, I'm sorry that after the bell rang, I'm sorry, but the other guy bid higher than you, so now it's this price. Now you got to beat it again. That would have been bad. So at that point in time, I had to cut it there. The bell rang. I couldn't help the lag, but now that's going to help with the lag too, because with doing the going once and then later going twice and then sold, that will take care of any lag. If anybody wants to, plus it's going to be visual and verbal, because I'll say going once. I'll put it up in the chat here, and that way there's much less lag there. That's kind of immediate.
Yeah, so, that's a good idea.
Good idea, yes. So thank you again, and everybody. I hope you all have a very wonderful day, night, or afternoon, depending on where you're at in the world. We got Australia here right now. We got all over the place, Belgium, all over the United States. I hope everybody has a great time, and we'll see you all later.
Take care, everyone.
Love you guys. Bye-bye.